Hello and welcome to the live stream of Arsenal versus PSG. Really excited for this. This is the first live stream we've done, so super excited for this one. And welcome. I hope you enjoy it. We're going to take a look at what type of game this will be. We'll go alongside the clips and we will talk about the different scenarios. I will move a few things around here. And the type of game I think this will be 0-0 obviously. Will it be freedom versus structure, or will it be structure versus structure? I think it's going to be a little bit of structure versus structure. I don't think this game will open up considerably. Where I think the game will be won and lost will be in the central area here, and I'll just highlight it. What happens in this area is really going to be key. So Arsenal will probably set up in a 4-2-3-1. What will PSG setup look like? Well, it'll probably look a little bit like this here. But the rotation of their midfielders, I can see initially Arsenal are putting on a high press. But when the game settles down, the movement of the three Arsenal midfielders in relation to the rotation of the PSG players, Ruiz, obviously Neves and Vitinha. Now, these types of moments here, if you're watching it, I don't expect Arsenal to be... so the ball at the minute is in this, where I actually think it'll be at the minute, where Havertz will drop in slightly and the ball will start with the centre backs, and it'll just be a little bit of jostling. And what you're going to see, I believe, initially is the rotation of players popping out. And what's really interesting, if you're watching this alongside the analysis we're going to do, is okay, once Ruiz, once Neves, once Vitinha start moving around, these fullbacks push on, Hakimi will go into these spaces. What are Rice, Lewis Skelly, Odegaard, what are the Arsenal midfielders going to do once the PSG players start moving? And you can see it already. Vitinha is moving into these areas right as we speak. With Arsenal dropping into a high block, they don't want to isolate their defenders. They don't want to isolate their fullbacks. But the bigger threat, I would say, is these two players here. So these are the two keys. The screeners across the areas for PSG want to attack centrally. So the biggest thing I'm looking forward to, the most important there, the biggest aspect I'm looking forward to in this game is what actually Arsenal are going to do with usually blocks or little bit less man-to-man, so you don't actually have the problem perhaps of following around Vitinha into this area or Neves, but where blocks become quite difficult is one, if you're stuck in it for prolonged periods of time, but also when the ball goes from left to right, right to left, all of a sudden these spaces here, they start opening up higher up the pitch. So as the ball starts going from left to right, Arsenal are breaking here. Wow, what a chance. Oh my word, Arsenal just scored. Wow, what a finish that was. Wow. Well, let's look at this goal. What a start to this game. This is incredible. Havertz, I didn't even see how the attack happened. Luis Enrique looking very pensive there, walking up and down the bench. What a start to this game. Let's take a look at this here. First attack for Arsenal. Oh, it wasn't in transition. Oh, it's a mistake from a player that doesn't make many mistakes, and Marquinhos. To be fair to Havertz, left side. So they've made a mistake around this area here. Havertz has streamed ahead of Pacho, and from about this angle here, he's buried. He's absolutely buried it. That's an unbelievable start. Wow. That's incredible. That's incredible. Well, that changes the game considerably now. That changes it considerably now, because now what has to happen is PSG have to bring Arsenal out of a block that they probably don't want to go out of. So this is incredible. This is absolutely incredible. If you're watching this here, make sure you give me your score prediction. I think none of us would have predicted what's happened so far. They're just playing the finish again from Havertz. Unbelievable. Any keeper that gets beat at the near post, there's always a protect your near post kind of theme, but he's beaten him probably from this angle here with a recovering defender right on his shoulder. He's walked away, giving it the ear to the fans. But what's really, really interesting is that Savinov, and I'm not a goalkeeper expert, but I just think the power in the shot, he probably has beaten it at the near post, but these players today are striking the ball at such a level that you can't really do much about that. So 1-0 Arsenal. Wow, didn't think that was going to come, but that's incredible. That is incredible. 1-0 to the Arsenal. And that will be a really, really interesting component to this game. So now what's going to happen? And the game hasn't really settled down. I promise you, you haven't missed much at this stage in terms of tactically. That was Arsenal's first really. They're saying it's their first attack, but I don't think there was much of an attack. Here come PSG now in transition down the left. Vidue, great ball in. Arsenal defend the box. And this, you would imagine this type of game now would fit into the Arsenal skill set. And this picture of break us down, I mean, you would imagine this is a dream for Mikel Arteta. Yeah, it's really, really interesting. So, as expected, PSG are dropping, going into a back three. Vitinha's floating around here. And these players here, these front three of Arsenal, are screening these central areas. So, rather than going man-to-man in a block, even higher up the pitch, how they're dealing with the rotation of PSG is they're actually keeping their discipline in this area. So again, I think the game's going to be won or lost in this area here. And the difficult thing about this, oh, here come PSG on the side with Vasconcelia. Yeah, well done Arsenal. They dealt with it. And it settled down. I think now we're going to see this as a free kick. So there's a little stoppage. So I'll kind of point this out. It's really, really smart, I think, from Mikel Arteta to be looking at these guys screening. So when you're dealing with rotation is all about, and what I mean for rotation is when these players in centre midfield drop out, a Neves or a Vitinha, when they drop out, rotation is okay, space will open up, because ultimately usually it's man-to-man in midfield and you match them up and then you go with them to deal with that there. What Arsenal are doing is they're screening with their central players, central attacking players, so Havertz, Saka and Trossard. That puts less pressure on Rice, Odegaard, Lewis Skelly to deal with that movement in midfield. But the discomfort is that these players here are, when you're screening, you're not actually, it's actually quite uncomfortable as a defender to do that there, even as an attacker in a press and a block to do that there. So I think initially it's going to make PSG feel a little bit uncomfortable that they're not drawing out players in these moments. But what's going to happen is they're already in. Yeah, yeah. What's going to happen is PSG are going to have a solution to this pretty quickly if they haven't already. So once they get into these, they're saying, okay, well, you can screen these here channels with your front three. So we won't allow you to progress the ball centrally. But what's going to happen now, I think it's already happening, is if there's any team in the world who are really, really strong at wide progression, it's PSG. So now I think the plan becomes, how are PSG going to break this down? And what I think will happen is the half spaces where Arsenal fullbacks will be outnumbered. I would watch that there. The second, there we go, it's a PSG press. I don't expect anything big here. Raya going long, so play short to go long against the PSG press. Arsenal aren't going to try and progress the ball in possession. They're going to try and do it a little bit longer. And now the game becomes, okay, break us down. So this picture here of PSG with the ball, Arsenal in the block. They're not just dropping back. And that sometimes bugs me in tactical analysis. Well, Arsenal are going to drop in and it's going to be break us down. No, it's a block. It's a medium to high block even, but it's a screening block. So again, screening block is what I've just put down in my diagram there, that highlighting that area there. And there's a solution. Yeah, this is really interesting. So what's happening now is PSG have been cut out of building against the block, and the block is against these screening players here. So now if they take away that there, and this is interesting again from a coaching perspective, is okay, if you're starting to build back here, and this is about where Arsenal are trying to keep their defensive distances. I absolutely detest using the word line of confrontation. That doesn't exist anymore. It's where their block is basically set up, where they're trying to stop access into these spaces. Ruiz, Neves, Hakimi. But what PSG are unbelievable at is these combinations here. So drawing out your players and attacking from wide areas. And it's not just attacking in 1v1. They will use that probably in transition, this scenario. It's once they get into these spaces here where should I stay or should I go moment for a fullback, PSG can turn your back four. So right now, again, they're building against the screen. They're probably going to go from left to right. Yeah, there we go. Marquinhos shaping it over. And now Arsenal are not allowing them to build centrally. So they will progress the ball wide. To be fair, Arsenal are doing it, and it's almost a press from Arsenal. This is fantastic. So they're not allowing PSG, and PSG have to go long. Right, brilliant. So what I was talking about there, they're cutting that area off, and I'm going to sound like I'm keeping repeating myself, but Arsenal are using their front three to screen into those central areas. They're moving then Arsenal into these areas here to try and shift their block. Now what's really interesting is Arsenal are shifting across really, really well. So they're actually being more aggressive in these wide spaces. So when the ball goes in, yeah, now the blocks drop back a little bit. PSG in controlled possession. Now it goes wide. Arsenal are getting, now they're shifting their 4-2-3-1 across. You can see Rice pointing. Now this is what the game's about. If Arsenal can maintain this discipline and this pressure on the ball, Trossard's having to draw back. So now PSG are a little further up the pitch. Arsenal have moved into a 4-5-1 and they've just conceded a corner. But I don't see that being a problem. If the game plays out like this here for the next 80 odd minutes, I think this will be exactly what Arsenal are looking for. excellent stuff from Arsenal against PSG's block. It's excellent. It's such a high level and such an underrated aspect of uh, coaching and structures and systems. We always think that if you're up against a block, it's easy. It's easy to put your team in a block. Pressing's the real skill of defending. To an extent, pressing is more difficult, of course. There's more risk involved, there's more physical demands. But I tell you what, a high block that Arsenal are doing here is incredibly difficult if you're going to commit to that for 90 minutes. So now, I mean, the press is about vertical space for me, but the block is about horizontal space, but you're still giving something up. And because PSG are so good in the wide spaces, do you want to give up that for, what have we got, 75 minutes left? I mean, you're still on hiding to nothing, perhaps, because PSG are so good in those wide spaces where the ball is there. But what's happening is, in this game at the minute, is that Arsenal are getting in their shape, but when they're moved into these areas, when the ball's going in here, and if you're watching this on TV and just listening, brilliant. Please give it a like. Please give us a score prediction. If someone can predict something's going to happen, you'll get an MSC subscription. When the ball goes in, there we go. Yeah, once the ball goes into Varscalia, now all of a sudden there's a little bit of rotation higher up the pitch now. So Arsenal's movement horizontally across the pitch, and I'll show this in a little when this attack finishes. But it's a thing of beauty, and they win the ball. This is amazing. All right, I'll go back. I'll delete some of this here because I'm starting to draw over myself, and I get annoyed when people do that, so I'm trying to make sure I don't. All right, always reference point. Reference point is the Arsenal screen. So they're putting, using those front three to screen into the central area. PSG are now moving the ball into those wide areas, and Arsenal, yeah, they're doubling up when the ball goes into PSG's attackers. Nothing rocket science about that. But if you're watching this on the TV and listening, here's what's happening. And this is what I would say to watch carefully. Once the ball goes in, how quickly Arsenal can get this 2v1. So this is probably what's going to make the headlines at the minute is, all right, they're not giving PSG this space. And they're not getting into situations where their fullbacks are isolated. But what's really impressive for me already is that they're shifting across. So all of a sudden, Arsenal are going as a collective in here. And what that does is this makes it really, really difficult for PSG to progress the ball into wide areas, which I've said a few times they're absolutely brilliant at. But what it also does is that it makes it hard to switch the field. So sometimes when you look at a team and they're maybe in a block, but they're not in an aggressive block, is that they give up the horizontal space from left to right, but they're flat. And if you're flat in two lines of pressure, and I'll show this in a second, this is what it looks like if you're flat. All right, we'll go back into these three. If you're flat in your block, and you don't shift across aggressively, you actually give up these spaces here, and you're still saying, well, that's if I give Neves this ball here, they're not going to hurt us. Yeah, but these players have the ability to switch the point of attack, open up the play, whatever it is. So it's just a matter of time, and it's not necessarily, a dangerous picture here. If the ball is at someone like Neves or Vitinha, it's not necessarily difficult where this picture kills you. But this one, the ball going left to right, And this is, again, something that annoys me a little bit when I'm looking at analysis on mainstream TV, is that they don't talk about, they're talking about vertical progression, how hard teams are to break down. But if a team is going left to right against a top team for long periods of time, they'll open up central spaces unless that team is really, really disciplined in their defending. And Arsenal, are up until this moment, are extremely disciplined. So 20 minutes in, I love what Arsenal are doing. I love what Arsenal are doing. Now, you would imagine PSG are going to change something here or adapt slightly. But at the minute, this has been an absolute masterclass from Arteta. Absolute masterclass. So I love what Arsenal are doing. I love the fact that Arsenal are not just sitting in a block and saying break us down, but are saying, hey, listen, we're actually going to be aggressive in our block, so we can get out and counter attack as well, and not make it easy at any part of the pitch. I would take some of these clips. If you're a coach watching this, number one, please make sure you subscribe if you're watching it. I haven't even said that yet, and we're 20 minutes in. Get a quick drink. Please make sure you subscribe. Stacks of stuff going on in Modern Soccer Coach. If you enjoy these live streams, please make sure you subscribe. Please make sure you like. Please make sure you put a comment below. If you don't know what to write, just write your prediction. If you get the prediction right, I will give you a little bit of MSC bonus content. But this is something that we're trying to do for the World Cup as well. Let's do a little bit more content, bring in some experts, look at some live footage. I think analysis is an art in football, but I think if we're not careful, we're going to turn it into a rear view mirror art, and it's breaking a game down after it's happened, without really an appreciation of how difficult it is to game manage, to do live analysis and all these things. So please make sure you like, please make sure you subscribe, please make sure you spread the word. If you want to go one step and beyond, tell someone in your coaching community that Modern Soccer Coach are doing live streams with a tactical viewpoint, and we'll talk about some of it as it breaks down. It's a water break. Water breaks look like they're starting to come in for the World Cup. How hot is it for the World Cup? It is extremely hot. For sure. Brilliant. So taking a water break. What are the coaches saying? Always interesting. Two quite proactive coaches, I would say, when you're looking at coach behaviours. We did a podcast with Ashley Gumbrell on this last week. They're just showing the Arsenal goal. Havertz has taken a look halfway through the transition while he's at full speed. He's looked across. Nobody's alongside him. So he's just put his foot through it on his left foot. It's unbelievable. Gabriel Heinze is celebrating with Mikel Arteta. There is a guy who would appreciate a left foot. Gabriel Heinze, as a Manchester United fan, I used to really enjoy watching him. And I wouldn't say Luis Enrique is panicking yet. Time is on their side. However, it would appear that PSG would need to do something a little bit different. So that's the question, right? If you're looking at what is the actual solution to what? Let me fix my screen. Excuse me. What is the solution to this? And this is the next question. Well, if you were PSG, what would you do? If you were Luis Enrique, what would you do to this here? And it's a great question. There's a couple of solutions to... I've just been raving about Arsenal's block and how good their block is for the last 15 minutes. And it's not sitting in... If you've just joined us, Arsenal are not sitting parking the bus. I don't believe parking the bus works at elite football. I don't believe it really happens actually at elite football. Very, very few of these teams are sitting in their penalty box for the... Oh my word, Arsenal just had another chance. I don't believe anyone's parking the bus in elite football. I don't believe you can win at this level parking the bus at elite football. I think you've got to come out and play to an extent. I think what's really, really interesting is that, again, Arsenal's block is quite aggressive. It's an aggressive block. Sometimes when you're in a block, um, when you're in a block and you're in a mid block, it's very, very difficult to be aggressive in your behaviors because you get a false sense of security that you're giving up. And I'll go in and I'll show a little bit about this because we're in a stoppage. So the challenge that I see a lot of teams and why they struggle in a block is they say, okay, we're not going to give you vertical space. So they sit in their block and they sit in their 4-2-3-1 and they sit like this. But if you're not giving up vertical space, and what I mean by vertical space is if you're sitting in a block and you're saying, okay, you're not going to get access to this and we're going to be happy managing this, that's fine. But watch the top teams, and as they circulate the ball, everyone moves across, and what they're trying to do is get access to inside spaces, especially with players like Hakimi drifting in there, Mendes drifting in there. They're going to access these spaces, and once a team access these spaces in a block and they have attacking quality and midfielders running beyond, it's a matter of time. So Arsenal have been really aggressive in their block, which I've talked about already. They're moving across, they're shifting, they're getting 2 to 3 players around. Do a Vasconcelos when they get in the ball, when they get on the ball. What would you do if you were Luis Enrique to counter this? Ball movement is one thing. There's Arsene Wenger sitting next to Luis Figo. Luis Figo's on his phone. Arsene Wenger is way too much of a football guy to be on his phone, as is Roberto Martinez, who's now come on the screen sitting next to Rafa Benitez. Rafa Benitez is probably loving this display from Arsenal. There was a manager who had an appreciation of defensive organisation, would be Rafa Benitez. Now, would Rafa Benitez be as high up the pitch as Arsenal were at the minute? Not sure. I'm not sure, but that would be a good case study. So there's a little break here in the game. PSG goalkeeper has just gone down. We've come out of the water break. So what are PSG doing anything different in the first 5-10 minutes? If you've got any comments, if you've got any questions, put them in the chat. Happy to take some questions. Happy to discuss anything. If you see anything in the game, if you're watching this game live and you're saying, "What, Gary, why aren't you talking about this?" Put it up on the chat and we'll take a look. It's not a game of break down the block yet. Again, Arsenal now are in a high press shape. But I think that's just trying to cut off and restrict one side of the pitch. Second balls, PSG going long. A little bit of chaos, but Arsenal are conditioned to deal with that there. So now the ball settles down. PSG in their traditional back three build. Again, Marquinhos. Oh, interesting. Here we go. Tempo has increased. Luis Enrique into the final third. Yeah, this is interesting. This is really, really interesting. So a quicker ball movement from PSG in the build. Like I said, sometimes that accelerates. But now you're against a low block Arsenal. So, PSG give a masterclass of defending in a low block against Bayern. Arsenal are going to have to do the same when PSG progress. They've got an injury. There's probably going to be a stoppage here. PSG should kick the ball out. It's their own player. Not sure it is. I think it's Dembele. But they're not kicking it out. They're going on the attack. I would imagine they know that they've got a player down, so I'm not sure why they haven't kicked it out of play. Oh, chance. Oh, box defended from Arsenal. When a player goes to the ground these days, it's kind of how conditioned we are to see VAR being played. When a player dives in the penalty box as a defender, you suddenly think. I mean, I think that's a penalty. I wish I didn't think that, but I think that's the way football is today. No, it's actually Mendes was down. They're showing it the replay again. It's just a knocks. There was a lot of bodies in there. And then here is oh my word. I mean, that's not a penalty. There's no chance of a penalty, but when you go to the ground, I don't know if he went to the ground there for a tackle. I don't actually know who that was for Arsenal, but he got a bit lucky because the PSG player ran into him. What a game. I'm enjoying this. 30 minutes in. Let's see if we got any predictions from anyone watching the game. Nothing on the chat. Come on, guys. Put your predictions in. Let me know what you think. Are PSG going to play their way out of this? And here we go. The tempo has increased now. Yeah. Runners from deep. I love this. I love this. So that this is different now. PSG, and it actually does the spectacle a favour. PSG are moving the ball way quicker. Now they're against a low block for Arsenal. It's difficult against a low block, and I get this question quite often. When you play against a low block, how do you break a low block down? My first answer all the time is, listen, is it ball movement? I always go back to ball movement. Is it ball movement that's slowing down a team attacking, which has actually led the defensive team to drop in with a accepting the low block? PSG are moving it now from left to right. Arsenal's low block. There's just red shirts outnumbering PSG players in these wide areas all the time. It's a masterclass in defending. It's not a low block, although they are at the minute in a low block, as soon as I can contradict myself. But it's not if you're not watching the game live, this is not Arsenal sitting on a 1-0 lead. They are very, very comfortable without the ball, but it's a mid block for the most part. Now they're dropping into a low block because PSG have pinned them back. But PSG now are not finding these spaces that they're looking for. They're moving anytime they get a player a little bit higher up the pitch. Arsenal adapt. Arsenal's ability to communicate, absolutely brilliant, and they force them into a cross, which Raya catches. So I'm going to talk about this for a second because it gets overlooked. Now the game is kind of moving into a little bit of fatigue has set in with Arsenal perhaps. So now the game's moving further back. I'll take away this metric and now it is more of a low block. So now you've got that Arsenal back four, probably using the reference point of the 18-yard box. Let's put the 2 in there. Let's put Odegaard running around in front of them. And let's put this. So this is what the game kind of looks like at the minute. And what typically happens in these moments are, again, it's not a cross that hurts you. It's these spaces here. Again, if you're giving up, shifting a team from right to left, playing against a low block, they are going to target these areas. So, and it's literally in this moment right now. So if you're watching this live, and again, this kind of gets overlooked for me. It's why I'm so excited watching it. When a team is in a low block, instead of looking at, all right, these centre-backs are going to have to defend for the next 70 minutes, heading balls out and doing that. No, not really. Like, these centre-backs will have to deal with crosses. They will have to deal with stepping up and shifting out. There's a ton of communication going on. But for me, the stars of the show, when it becomes a low block circulation game, it's these two players here for Arsenal. It's the two defensive midfielders. Now they're in transition. Saka, he's going to get a free kick. Really, really good. So if you're watching this live, and you do appreciate defensive football like me, I probably sound as if I'm a bit of a connoisseur of Jose Mourinho at the minute. It is that type of defensive work rate. It's the work rate of the two centre midfielders, because if, and I'll go back to my board here, if PSG are shifting the ball and probing, as they call it, and going across the pitch and going from left to right, if Odegaard doesn't shift quick enough, if Rice shifts, Lewis Skelly's covering position has to be within 5 or 10 yards. So these players here, these three players here in the midfield block, they're not standing static. So free kick to Arsenal, header, they won the header around the box. So again, I don't want to make this sound that PSG are having all the possession and Arsenal are sitting deep. Absolutely not. Oh, I've got some comments. Matter of time. Oh, here we go. Josh Shields. Matter of time for PSG if they keep pressure on like this. Oh, I love it. I love it. Yeah. Yes, Josh, I agree with you if fatigue plays in. But I actually think the question I would say, Josh, is, and you've probably accessed a few more apps open than I have. I've just got the game going, I've got the score up, and I've got this tactical pad going. But Josh, have a look at the XG created from PSG. And this could change in a heartbeat, so I might look a bit stupid here in about 2 seconds, because PSG are on the attack. But PSG haven't created much, Josh. So, like, is it a matter of time? Which coach is more comfortable at the minute? So I love the take. Yeah, it's a good point. I haven't talked about the counter pressing from PSG. Good point, Josh. I haven't really looked at that. They might get a chance in transition. Wing BLD 0515. Defensive tactics need evolution to go to higher standards. I completely agree with that. I think defensive tactics are absolutely overlooked. Like, to me, again, this is what frustrates me about modern analysis today, if you call it that. All we talk about is pressing, and all we talk about is counter shapes, and the two of them are vitally important, but there is so much more. Like, if you're at a level that a team can progress the ball, if you're playing at an elite level, whether that's an elite youth level or elite college level or an elite senior level, teams today can progress the ball in possession, which means that the block is not bulletproof to penetrative passes, to players receiving, playing forward. Oh, I love this now. The still I'm looking at right now, Arsenal in their block, right, exactly what we have painted. Wide attack, Declan Rice, Lewis Skelly within 5 yards of each other. Arsenal all shifted across. PSG, nothing there for them. And this is, Josh, this is the point. If you're watching it right now, or if you're just listening to me, if you're watching it right now, this is where I'm confident in Arsenal. To me, PSG need to do something a little bit different here. Because I think Arsenal are way too comfortable. Oh my word. Yeah, you're always open to a defensive mistake. Saka's even putting the work in. Great defending the box is part of it as well. This is fantastic. Oh, Hakimi and Havertz, little tussle going on. Could this be a red card? Hopefully not, but I don't think there's enough in it for a red card. So again, if you're watching this, Josh is saying that's a good point on PSG XG. Haven't had any serious chances. Oh, Josh is an Arsenal fan. He's listening. Josh, thank you so much for being an Arsenal fan and actually listening to this live stream. The first one we've ever done tactically. If Arsenal win, Josh, I will give you 1 year's subscription to the MSC Insider as a gift for getting up here and spending your time as an Arsenal fan with someone who is not an Arsenal fan, which is myself. So I hope you're enjoying it. Probably nervous, but I think Arsenal are... This has been a great first half for Mikel Arteta. 40 minutes in. 1-0 to Arsenal. Let me check. 67,000 here in the Puskás Arena in Hungary. I haven't even mentioned where we are. I'm not in Hungary. But this game is at Hungary. I listened to a podcast yesterday about how small the stadium was. 67,000 isn't small. There we go. PSG on the attack. Arsenal win. The first sign of a little bit of fatigue from Odegaard. And it's completely understandable, by the way, if Odegaard is suffering from fatigue, because how much mileage he's covered from left to right. Arsenal in a low block. Same picture we've painted. Now Vasconcelos dropped out, so he's starting to roam. I need to touch on that. I'll probably do that in my halftime talk. Arsenal look like they're going to sit in here for the last 5 minutes of this half and say break us down. So now I will admit, now it's true low block stuff for the last 5 minutes from Arsenal. And I think this is to save the legs of Rice, Lewis Skelly, Odegaard. Havertz has dropped back into the block, so it's almost a 4-6. It's not even a 4-5-1. By the way, if there's any youth coaches watching this here and you work with central midfielders and you want to show them an appreciation of defensive work rate, Odegaard, my word, this is a hell of a shift. Just left to right. I would never get, and anyone who follows my work on LinkedIn, I'm not the guy to get obsessed or excited about defensive metrics, covered, ground covered, no chance, sprints. But I do appreciate someone putting a real shift in, and I do think that side of the game gets glossed over. Odegaard is unbelievable at the minute. 1v1 out wide. PSG! That's probably the first chance. That's probably the first chance. So I'd have to look back on that. PSG attack from wide. Mendes 1v1. Yeah, 1v1. First time that they've isolated the fullback there, Arsenal. And he's driven that across the box. Now, was it really a chance? I tell you what. White's defended the back post there really, really well. Brilliant. Absolutely brilliant defending. Fantastic. Absolutely brilliant. Not a true chance, but again, I think anytime you smash a ball across the 6-yard box in football today, you've got a chance. Back to Josh. Josh has come back to me again. Gary, I'm a huge fan. Following for 10 plus years. Thank you so much. Listen to RAF TV and Saudi Josh, if I've made an Arsenal fan choose me instead of AF TV, I've had a good day. So I was excited to do this live stream. It's something we want to do for the World Cup, Josh. So make sure you keep joining us. I really appreciate the support. What we try to do in Modern Soccer Coach is create a bit of community and a bit of support around coaches and a bit of excitement around the tactical side of the game. So we're hoping to do something a little bit different. I don't think it's going to be anything near Monday Night Football-esque stuff. I'm not going to get that type of access, but yeah, I just think having appreciation of systems is a bit lost today. Okay, low block again. Dembele reduced to a shooting opportunity, and this is the danger. Thierry Henry watching, looking nervous. What a legend Thierry Henry was. I'm sure people listening to this are big Thierry Henry fans, whether you're an Arsenal fan or not. Thierry Henry is one of these players who you appreciate. If you're anyone like me, Mikel Arteta, nice polo from Mikel Arteta today. Yeah, I like that. Dress etiquette from Mikel Arteta. Yeah, I think the desperation bit is for PSG, and you could easily see this happen, is that if it's not your day in the final third, Declan Rice, fantastic ball recovery. If it's not your day, not your night in the final third, that you do start to snatch at chances, and Arsenal will let you have that from PSG. They just had a shot from about 20-30 yards over the bar. Now Arsenal on the attack. Throw in Arsenal. 6 minutes of stoppage time. Anytime stoppage time goes about above 4 minutes, I get a bit disappointed these days. I think there should be a cap on stoppage time. Stoppage time above 4 minutes to me is too long. And Ray has gone long, and the PSG goalkeeper has headed the ball, and it's a little bit of 50-50 back and forth. PSG have picked it up. Arsenal recover their shape, and now it becomes break us down again for the last 5 minutes. If Arsenal can see this out, then it would be a brilliant position to go. It's another isolation, so it's still a 1v2 situation. PSG actually aren't getting the numbers around. You can see Arteta's up now. He's earning his money for the last 5 minutes. This is, I think, probably as a coach, anyone here who has coached holding on to a lead, this is where your team probably needs you. A little bit of penalty box action. And again, it's not a picture that you probably haven't seen. Again, it's against the low block, break us down, get across. I don't want to be critical because who am I to criticise Arsenal? But this is the first time in the game that Arsenal, I don't see them getting across the pitch. Although having said that, Hakimi's up against 3 players here in wide areas. Havertz has got out there very, very, very quickly. Maybe it's and if yeah, it's really interesting. So Due and Vazquezquia and Dembele are now dropping out of the higher line and now dropping into those spaces that Rice has come into and Lewis Skelly's coming into. So now, but they're shooting from distance, and I think if you're Luis Enrique, I do think as he walks, there's a picture of him walking up and down the line here. I think if you're Luis Enrique and you're going into the halftime team talk here, I don't think you probably would want your front 3 shooting from 25 yards out. And again, I haven't been watching the game from a true tactical lens. I've been talking to you guys. I've been rambling. I've been showing some animations. Oh my word! Chance for Arsenal! Oh my word! I tell you what, Arsenal nearly scored to go in 2-0. Havertz had a shot blocked. Wow! Brilliant. Well worth their lead here. That would have been amazing. I think if Arsenal went 2-0 up there, I think it's game over. I don't think PSG are scoring 3 goals in this game. Yeah, I love it. So if you see Mikel Arteta, I love this. We talked about shifting across in the block from right to left, left to right. So Arteta is constantly pointing at his weak side to shift across. But Arsenal right now are doing anything but sitting in a block and waiting for PSG to get service. There's good pressure in that final third. They've just conceded a corner. But if there's anyone who is, adept at defending set pieces, it's got to be Arsenal, right? They've got to be good at this. PSG have taken it quite quickly. And the referee has decided to go and talk to Raya and big centre-back for PSG. All right, here we go. If you defend this... Arsenal are so good in the air as well. Yeah, no problem at all. Defend the first ball. And look how quickly they get to the 18-yard box. So that's another thing. I'm going to talk about that at halftime too. Defending set pieces. Struck across the ball and Raya catches. Defending set pieces, second phase. If you want to see good practice at second phase defending for set pieces, people talk about the importance of a second phase. First off, what is a second phase? Second phase from a set piece is if you deliver the first ball and it's cleared, and now it comes to attacking player who delivers another ball and a team score from it. Some teams are brilliant at second phase attacking. Some teams are weak at second phase defending, and I usually find if they're weak, it's because they're not getting out. If you want to look at Arsenal defending a set piece and preparing for that second phase, look how quick they get out of the box. It's absolutely brilliant. We're just about a minute away. Here's the Arsenal chance. Little combination play. It's brilliant defending, Marquinhos. I tell you what, the centre-backs on display today. Absolutely brilliant. Big chance for Havertz. On his left foot as well. This side cutting in. This time cutting in. So I will check the live stream again. I'll see if we've got anything else. Wing Boulevard or Wing BLD is a Barca fan. Fantastic. Yeah, I agree, Josh. I'm just reading some of the live stream. I don't think PSG have been in this position a long time, so it's really really interesting. The longer it lasts, this plays into Arsenal being vertical on the counter. Yeah, I I I will admit I haven't watched Arsenal in the last 3 or 4 months outside Champions League games, so I'm not a hardcore Arsenal observer. I'm not going to get into that or I'll lose all my followers. Josh will unsubscribe very quickly if I told you why. Um, I just don't really feel the desire to switch on an Arsenal game over the last 6 months. I do respect what they've done hugely, what they've built. Well-deserved champions. So I don't really know what their counter-attack threat is. But if you're telling me, Josh, that PSG on the counter here are a real force, and they've just blown the halftime whistle just as Arsenal were taking a corner kick. And if I was an Arsenal player or coach, I'd be a little bit. I'd be asking questions there. You don't see that in football today. If PSG were 1-0 up and Arsenal were taking a corner 30 minutes into stoppage time, would the whistle go? Maybe it would, maybe it wouldn't. But yeah, it's interesting. That's really, really interesting. Don't think so. Don't think so. Okay, we will go back into the live stream. All right, coaches, thanks so much for watching. Hope you're watching this and enjoying it. Arsenal are winning the game. Let's see. The chat room is absolutely buzzing. Nice combination. Yeah, absolutely. Great combination play for Arsenal. It's been a fantastic game so far. Let me see if I can get some people involved in the chat here. But I appreciate you watching. I'm not sure if you're going to take a break for the halftime, but what I'll talk about, what I'll try and show you here is what might happen in the second half. I'll show you two things actually. I'll walk through two scenarios. I think what's happening is this picture here of Break Us Down has been the story of the last 5-10 minutes. But I think why it's been a story is been the time needed for recovery for a player like Rice, a player like Louis Skelly, a player like Odegaard. So Arsenal now in this block, every time the ball goes wide in this area here, especially on the left, you are seeing this picture here. So Arsenal are not giving up any situations where it's 1v1. Arsenal are not giving up any isolations in that block against wide areas, although they did, which PSG got a chance. But what's happening for PSG, and it'll be interesting to see whether Luis Enrique actually wants this to happen, or it's by design, or just by players trying to drift and trying to get involved a little bit. I think the playing against a block always challenges your most dynamic attacking players. So if we're looking at these three players here, and we'll put them right beside the goal because they're such a goal threat. So you've got Kvaratskhelia, you've got Doué, you've got Dembele. All right, so when you're in a block, like these three players are not true centre forwards, old school, or even new school Haaland. Like they're not players who are going to say, give me service, I'm Alan Shearer, get the ball in the box, let me work. They're not going to do that there. So what the danger of PSG, at least I think this is a danger. I'm happy to be wrong on this here. The danger is these players start to roam, which is fine, right? Because you want these players to try and find solutions. But if they start to roam in front of Rice and Skelly, all right, maybe it's Hakimi that's pinning, maybe it's Mendes that's pinning. All right, so now you've got this. Now, to me, this picture here is, again, I would love someone who's watched PSG more than me this year to see whether this is something that PSG want to happen. But if your top three attackers for PSG, and I'll highlight them here. If they're rotating or drifting into these areas here, and if you're Luis Enrique, do you want this to happen? For two reasons. One, profile of player, all right, because these three players are fast, dynamic, 1v1 players. Well, if they go back into traffic, who's that helping? Is that helping Arsenal or is that helping PSG? So I think that if they start moving into these spaces, it helps Arsenal. Also, I think if they move into these spaces, does it make these players more redundant, these kind of specialists in circulation and probing? So now all of a sudden, if you start to put players in there, what does it do to your three creative midfielders? Well, who have they got to play those penetrative passes to? So sometimes you get this in terms of like, okay, overloads. For example, if you're a coach and you're saying, I'm a big fan of an overload. And I get this a lot with game models and reviewing game models and saying, all right, we're trying to create overloads. And I would sometimes challenge that there and push back a little bit. Like, okay, I'll make this a bigger picture and make this a little bit more of a, okay, like, do you see this overload as something that as a coach, all right, let's keep the two centre backs out of it because they're not really threatened. So now you've got 5v6 or 6v5 PSG overload. Again, you can put this in the chat room if you disagree with me, and I've no problems if you do disagree with me. But if you're PSG and if you've watched PSG this year, is this the type of overload that you would want? Based on the strengths or the profiles of those three players. Now, does it help your three attacking midfielders? In terms of ball circulation, like, yeah, it does. But in terms of your threat attacking wise, yeah, I don't see that there. So I think what I'm really, really keen on about the second half is see what PSG do for or what PSG do with their front three. To say they haven't really impacted the game is probably harsh. I think they have impacted the game in terms of asking questions of Arsenal, but in terms of creating goal scoring opportunity, you know, if you're an Arsenal analyst right now, if you're in that Arsenal team and you're looking at the threat of those three players, that would probably be something in pre-game that you're looking at and saying, listen, if we can contain those three, if we can contain the profile of those three in terms of the spaces that they want to attack, which is in around the penalty area, which is in behind you, go back to the Bayern game and you see that type of sprint relay game that was going on. If you can prevent that, if you can restrict that, all of a sudden you have a better chance of winning. But I would go back to, listen, Luis Enrique is the best manager in the world probably at the minute for a reason. These guys are used to dealing with this type of situation. So what will PSG do next? Like for me, I think they have to solve the wide movement from Arsenal defensively. So Arsenal shifting across, they have to start to get switches or they have to start to open up spaces. Again, what kind of frustrates me with mainstream TV when they go into this, break us down, well, they have to do something different. Well, yeah, no kidding, they have to do something different. If the defensive team is on top and you as an attacking team, you have to do something different. But it's not like one or the other. It's not either possession, combination play, or sticking in the box. You know, at this level, you have to be quite nuanced in your solutions. Because if Luis Enrique steams into the PSG changing room now and says, that's not working, stick it in the mixer, you know, I'm sure a lot of players would be, well, bloody hell, I thought there was a bit more to you, Lewis. Two, Arsenal are going to love that there, so that's not going to happen. Luis Enrique is going to find a solution here that's based around their principles, which is vertical possession. So how are they going to open up spaces against Arsenal's block? and I think this is where I'm really, really excited about the second half. Is there a player who Arsenal who is going to suffer from fatigue? Is there a player from Arsenal who is going to switch off when the ball is going from left to right? I'm not sure. Guys, stick with me for 30 seconds. I'm going to go and grab a quick drink. I promise I'll be back. This is my first live stream. I haven't learned how to put a be back soon thing up, so I will be back soon. I'm just going to leave my chair here. Don't go anywhere. I will be back in 30 seconds. If I'm longer than 30 seconds, I give you permission to go to a different live stream, but I will be back in less than 30 seconds. I wasn't even 15 seconds. Ad free. You're getting no ads here for Modern Soccer Coach courses, or you're getting no ads here for Modern Soccer Coach ebooks, because, drum roll, I haven't figured out how to put them up on the live stream. So if you're watching Modern Soccer Coach for the first time here, head on over to modernsoccercoach.com. We've got plenty of courses. We've got plenty of online stuff happening over there, and of course the channel, so please make sure you subscribe to that. Take a quick drink here. What a game. Okay, let's go to the chat room. Put a prediction in, folks. We got some people watching. Put a prediction in. Yeah, let's see. Dembele has dragged Saliba into midfield a few times. Fabian Ruiz has found space to run in behind, but wouldn't Dembele? Yeah, great point. All right, I'm going to go to this one, Josh. Yeah, I actually think this has surprised me a little bit in the first half, where, to go to your point there, the runs from Ruiz into the box, which I haven't even spoke about. I think what makes PSG so good for me, and why I love watching PSG, is because they can turn possession into attack within seconds, right? So a lot of teams that I see, when they specialize in ball circulation, what I mean by ball circulation is this, like starting back here and splitting your center backs and moving your midfielder in here and moving the ball from right to left, left to right, bouncing here, bounce over there. So if a team specializes in circulation, sometimes they become too focused on circulation that they give up the opportunity to see those vertical passes. So again, it's not football for me, is not a case of possession or penetration. Elite football for me, I've just been talking about elite football defending, collective defending. Elite football attacking for me is getting the balance right between verticality and possession. Yeah, for me, you have to play possession today to a degree. If you disagree with me, give me one team today that does not possess the ball or doesn't hold the ball under any value and is successful at any level of the game. Now, I would argue that if you find that team for me, they're probably not up against elite competition in the context of their level. I think today you've got to be, and it's not possession based, but you've got to have that ability to manage the game and manipulate the team that you're up against. Now, the difficult point for a coach or for a team is that when you're circulating the ball, you're opening up spaces, but if the ball's moving from left to right, sometimes players can get in. We've all played the game. Like if you're moving the ball from left to right, sometimes you become comfortable doing that and you miss opportunities to look forward. PSG do two things for me that is on a different stratosphere from any team in the world. when they get a window of moving you from left to right, right to left, and they take it. 2, once they get that window, and if you remember the first goal that they scored in the second leg, once they get that window and they get the front 3, let's put the fullbacks a little bit further back, because sometimes when they're circulating, we'll go against the Arsenal's 4-2-3-1. I've got a couple of players out of position, a couple of players. This was the lineup I got early doors, so it's not quite accurate 100%, but you get the message. When they get the ball into their front 3 and they're attacking, their ability to get that player in there, so their ability to flood the box for PSG, for me, is on a different level. Absolute different level. All right, let's see if we've got any predictions for the second half. Please put them down. If you get anything right, I will give you an award. Let's see what Thierry Henry is talking about at the minute. Great stuff. Great stuff. Love the chat room's doing really good at the minute. Teams are coming back out. Will there be any changes? First one out, Odegaard. What a player Odegaard is. Worth his weight in gold. The shift he's putting in. Declan Rice as well. Probably won't get the headlines for this, but if this game plays out, if the second half plays out like the first half here, and Declan Rice can contain that central area with Luis Skelly and Odegaard, it could be one of the best defensive performances in modern football for me. But you'd imagine PSG are going to do something a little bit different here and throw the kitchen sink at them. So there's got to be, again, I haven't watched PSG outside the Champions League this season, so I don't know how many situations they've been in here that they've played against, but I would guess in that 15-20 minutes that Luis Enrique is in with his staff, and this is kind of what you find with the analysis team, he's going to know what the strategy is from Arsenal if he doesn't know it already, if it's not been in his ear or it's not been in his eyes. I suspect it would be, and he's going to be able to adapt to this. Now it's going to be really interesting to see how they adapt. Please don't kick the ball out of play. Yes, yes, yes. Brilliant. I do not like PSG, to put it mildly. I do not like that strategy of booting the ball out of play in the kickoff. I'm glad it hasn't come full throttle in terms of other levels copying it, but I think it's an absolute waste of possession. Here we go, on the attack already. Love it. All right, so there again. So what I would say now is tempo has increased from PSG, but we're only 30 seconds in, so that doesn't say much. All teams start the half with a spark, but yeah, Ruiz is starting to move into the box a little bit. I would say PSG now, the movement now where I've just been crediting Luis Skelly and Declan Rice for their shifting across now, and I'll go to the board for this because I think this is going to be really interesting. So if you've got those front 3, and again, the players here are moving across and screening. Now, what a strategy might be from PSG is late runners, even Vitinha. So maybe Vitinha's role is going to change here in the second half. And that's the thing. Arsenal in a high block. This is really interesting. Again, like you see a lot of midfielders today. So we'll talk about Vitinha for a couple of seconds. So you see a lot of midfielders today who are really, really comfortable or enthusiastic about dropping low, splitting the centre backs, dropping low. I'll do this here, I'll do this here. And they're really doing the job of the centre back from pass. They're actually slowing the game down more than they're actually speeding it up. The difference in my mind that Vitinha does, and we're sure we'll see it here, is that Vitinha's doing that. But 10 seconds later, after doing that, he now is a spider in the web in this position here, trying to unlock the spaces there. So he's got the ability. We talked about going from possession and circulation to attack. He's got the ability, Vitinha has got the ability to provide an overload in the build of circulation and provide an overload in the attack. And that is such a difference maker in the modern game, because you've got to imagine how fast this game moves. And Vitinha doesn't look like your traditional athlete, but his ability to get around the park, his ability to again add to the attack, contribute to the attack, contribute to the build. Oh, it's incredible. It's absolutely incredible. The best in the world at it for me. The best in the world. Let's see if there's anything else coming in the chat room for the second half. 2-1 to the Arsenal, Josh says. If the score says 1-0, Martinelli, Eze, Madueke on, PSG won't be able to contain them on the counter. Yeah, I wouldn't disagree with you there. I mean, it would be a dream for Arsenal to be able to play the last 20 minutes of this hanging on to something. There's Vitinha, just dribbled the ball. There's the difference. Oh my word. Yeah, that could change the game. Oh, just saying that. Oh, the referee says play on. This game's sped up a lot, and it's sped up, and the Vitinha's now impacting the game on the dribble. Declan Rice pulled out in a wide area. It's a waste from PSG, but it's interesting. Vitinha's now just driving through the middle like a running back in football, and Luis Enrique's applauding. So maybe he wants more penetration on the dribble from his central midfielders. Maybe he wants to draw in Rice or Lewis Skelly and try and impact through that there. Arsenal goal kick, going long. Second balls. Oh, well done, Saka. No, he was offside. Thanks so much for watching, folks. Our first ever live stream, tactical live stream. We're going to get better at these. Getting better at that, I promise you, does not mean putting in more commercials. Getting better is more interaction. So if you enjoyed it today, please tell someone. Please make sure you like and subscribe to the channel. Vitinha in the build against the high block Arsenal. Odegaard, absolutely brilliant. If you are a coach today, if you are a youth coach, get your number 10 to watch Martin Odegaard after this match. The work rate defensively, absolutely brilliant. Circulation, oh, look at that. Well done. White, brilliant, brilliant. Although Arsenal now, again, I don't know what PSG now, the circulation's just dramatically increased. But Declan Rice, the ground he's covering, he's now pressing. Arsenal are now in a pressing moment. And White is literally jumped on Hakimi and has fouled him. Sorry, that's not White. I've got my players mixed up. Arsenal in a pressing moment. Now they'll drop into the block. But PSG, now this for PSG, this is where they don't want to slow the game down, because they've got Arsenal in a kind of pressing shape. But the screen now I think this is what Luis Enrique will want. Yeah, here we go. Here we go. Ruiz drop deep, penetration. Now this is a problem for Arsenal, I think. But it's not, because they dealt with it. What I'm saying here for the problem with Arsenal is, if I go back to, if you were listening to me live, and Arsenal are in this kind of high press and shape, but it's a screening mode. And I'll kind of go through this here because I think it's really interesting. So, again, I think this is going to be really, really key to the second half, is that if Arsenal are in that high block and they are screening with these players, then if PSG can unlock that there and play behind them, I think they can create something. I think they can really get at this back four. They haven't really got at the back four yet. Right now, Arsenal pressing moment, which I love it. I love their mentality and their attitude here, Arsenal. And to be fair, they took care of it. But when they're winning the ball now, they're just going back to Raya, and he's having to go long. So there's a lot of. I think this is the first moment of the game, and I don't know whether anyone agrees with me or not. Please feel free to disagree. But for me, this is the first moment of the game of sustained PSG playing against a high block where you could see PSG opening up. They only really need to be successful at this once. The margins are very, very small for Arsenal. So I think now they're starting to give up a little bit more. The shape of Arsenal is a bit higher. PSG are in the box. Vitinha, the choice he picked, but PSG can sustain it. Players are furious. Tackle's gone in. Yellow card. Well done, ref. No red. We don't want red cards in this game. Because if this goes down to 10 men, if any team goes down to 10 men, this game's going to change dramatically. And not for the better, I don't think. You don't want this to be break us down for 30 minutes. That was a crunching tackle. So I think what's happened here gives us a chance to kind of go through this here. What's happened in the last few minutes is Arsenal are higher up the pitch in their block, and PSG's ball movement is really, really quick. So now, although Arsenal are recovering fast, when the ball goes into these spaces here, or these 1v1 opportunities out here, it's the first time in the game that Arsenal are susceptible to these moments. So I wonder whether, what do you do if you're Arsenal now? I hate to do this, but maybe just concede that space a little bit more and stay in that kind of mid to lower block a little bit more, because then you're going to save the running of Lewis Skelly vertically and then use him horizontally to get across, which they done brilliant in the first half. It's a free kick to PSG here. Let's see what they've got. Big moment in the game. Big moment in the game. 3 players around it. Hakimi. He's going to hit it. Good save. Straightforward enough save by Raya. Oh my word. Why did Arsenal decide to play short there? Well done. Havertz should have got a free kick for that, surely. PSG moving the ball fast. Here we go. It's circulation time. I love this. This is the game I want to see. Now, Arsenal could cancel this out by dropping a little bit deeper, but Arsenal are being quite progressive in their shape. They are now in a true low block. I think this is where PSG have struggled, but even now Marquinhos is getting in there, so they're going to move him from left to right. Arsenal are shifting across. PSG, yeah, this is interesting. I got to address this at the next stoppage. It's break us down moments, cat and mouse, but there's a real interesting twist to this. And I think I know why. I think this is a strategy from PSG. I'll wait till it plays out. All right, here's what I think PSG are doing right now. So I'll just cancel all of this animation out. So this is what I think PSG are doing. I think it's Arsenal low block, and let's say it's this. Let's say it's true low block. Cross from PSG. All right, Trossard in there, Odegaard in there, Havertz dropping in. So when they're in that low block, for Arsenal, it looks like a 4-6 or a 5-5. It's almost 2 lines of pressure here. Now, what's interesting from PSG is that PSG are moving their centre-backs. You almost forget they have a goalkeeper. Centre-backs now are higher up. The midfielders are now in circulation mode. And Dembele's dropping out of this here. So now, what you actually have in this game is a type of picture here where, and I said this at the halftime, that um, I didn't think it would help PSG if Vitinha, Neves, Ruiz are their front three are moving on top of those three midfielders, and Dembele and Vasquez and Doué are moving further back. But what's happening now against the low block is that their front three are pushing out, and I think there's a different strategy from the first half. So here's what I think will happen. I'd be worried about this if I was Arsenal. Like, this picture you're not really worried about, because all right, what's this, like, what's the problem here? How's this picture going to hurt you? Arsenal have everything in control. PSG don't even have a true 9. So, like, there's nothing really. PSG can't score from this picture, you would think. But I think what PSG are trying to do is, by pushing even the centre backs a bit further on into these spaces, I think what PSG are trying to do are trying to move their central midfield. I actually think they're trying to create a 5v4 game in here. So Arsenal have done really, really well cancelling out 1v1s. Arsenal have done really, really well cancelling out 2v2s. I think what PSG now are trying to do is trying to create 5v4s in here. And what they're incredibly good at this, and where this becomes a threat, is if they're successful in this. And what success is for PSG in this here, and I'll kind of diagram it, is like something like boom, boom, runner through there, you're on your bike through there, and all they need to do is unlock the space between centre back and full back. If PSG do this here, I think then what they do better than any other team in the world is, when they unlock that wide space, these players flood the box. And now I'll put them back to where they were originally. And I complained at halftime where, if you're Luis Enrique, you don't want Dembele dropping out and having shots. But I tell you what you would want them doing. If this picture occurs, you actually want Dembele then getting in the box, or Doué getting in the box, or Diaz getting in the box late. Because if you're Arsenal and you're marking nobody, and then when PSG break through, you've got to be responsible for a runner coming from late. How you pick up that runner at the speed that these guys work at, and the pace that Arsenal will be witnessing in front of them from PSG, it'd be very, very difficult. So that's what I think PSG are trying to do now. Oh, I think they're trying to attack from wide. I think they're trying to solve it from wide. And now I think they're trying to flood the box. To be fair, Arsenal now have dealt with those two wide forwards really, really well. It's a corner to PSG. 30 minutes left. What a game this is. So hope you're enjoying it. Hope you are enjoying the live stream. Would love to hear your thoughts. If you've got any predictions and you get it right, I will send some bonus content over to you. See what you think. Can Arsenal hang on? Oh, penalty. Oh, my word. Penalty to PSG. It did look like a penalty, in fairness. Oh, Arsenal, the discipline. Varaskelia. Arteta will be so disappointed. He'll be fuming. He lunged into the box. I said in the first half, when you see a defender today go down in the box, you almost think VAR's gonna find something here. Yeah, I think it's a penalty. It's I think he's not dove in initially. Mosquera, I think it is. I think he's not dove in initially, but I mean, Varascalia's just gone on the other side of him. He's pulled him down. The commentators will probably say the word clumsy. Yeah, I wonder, was that as an example of what we were talking about? It did look to be a wide combination. I think it was Dembele pulling out there as well. They'll check this, but I don't think this will be pulled back. I think this will be a quick check. I think it's a penalty. By the way, Varascalia is some footballer. And that's the level, like that's the kind of thing where these players, where you can stop them for 5, 10, 15, 45 minutes, but they are so good, these guys. Yeah, it's a definite penalty. He's just got the wrong side of him, Mosquera. It's so difficult. It's so difficult. I'd never use the word myself, clumsy, because it's such a disrespect to how good these players are. But, you know, he has got on the other side of him. It is a penalty. I'm shocked they haven't. They've taken out the VAR check. So I think now it's just a matter of taking the penalty now. It's a matter of the skullduggery around the penalty spot. Big opportunity for Rea. Who's going to take it? Marquinhos is holding the ball, but they never take it, do they? Big moment. Big moment. Who's the PSG penalty taker? You should know that, Gary. You should have done your research. You'd have a fair point if you said that. Looks like Dembele. What a moment this would be if Arsenal saved it. If Arsenal save this, they're going to win it. Dembele versus Rea. 1-1. Party time in Budapest for the PSG fans. Yeah, it's a shame. It's a shame for Arsenal because... Oh, there's a guy just bawling his eyes out, crying. And that's not Luis Enrique. Luis Enrique is very, very cool. This becomes the moments of the game now. And Josh, I'd love to get your thoughts. If you're still on here, what do you think? You know, you could argue that, you know, it's a mistake, but you could also then look at the amount of stress and fatigue these players and pressure these players are under for, you know, defensive work rate for the last 20 minutes. I think PSG have been really good second half. I think the tempo's gone up. I think they've probed and prodded at Arsenal. They've asked questions of them. Again, I don't have stats for this, but I would predict that they've got more penalty box entries. They've got more final third entries. Not true opportunities. Arsenal are going to make a change now. And they're bringing off the penalty. Mosquera. Timber's on for Mosquera. They might look at that as fatigue. I mean, you don't remove a player for a bad moment. At least you normally don't at this level. These guys are too good for that. And Odegaard's off as well. Which, I mean, I would say that's a sport load management type of decision here. Gyökeres is on for Odegaard. What does Gyökeres, there's my question, having not been an Arsenal observer, if you're listening to this, what does Gyökeres bring to the table different from Odegaard? Is he more of an attacking threat? But I tell you what, it's a shame that Odegaard's work his neck is over in terms of, you know, he doesn't walk off the pitch giving Arsenal a lead to hold on to. I don't think either of those are tactical substitutions. I think both of those are player like fatigue, freshness, whatever you want to call it. Fresh legs in those wide spaces. Fresh legs is a number 10. Did PSG deserve the 1-1? Yeah, I think they've definitely changed up second half. They definitely prodded and probed and asked a little bit more. Josh, Arteta will have to make a change. Yeah, again, we've said it so many times on this broadcast. Great teams find a way, and now the same kind of applies for Arsenal. But for Arsenal, who have created probably the better chances of this game, this is not a foregone conclusion. The PSG will win the game. So here we go. Here we go. PSG now up against Arsenal's block. What I love about this game is, again, the defensive discipline, but also PSG's ability. Now all of a sudden, this is fantastic. They're from three, so I was singing the praises of, yeah, this is getting really interesting. Oh my word, I gotta get the tactics board out for this. So there's a lot of police behind the goal, by the way, if something's kicked off back there. Hincapié blocks the cross. So going back to the tactics board, and again, it might just be fatigue, but the midfield three of PSG, which they done against Bayern, even like, and Bayern being one of the fastest paced teams, they are seriously open up the pitch here, and getting Rice out of that kind of traditional holding mid spot. So now it's second phase. Well done, Arsenal. Arsenal have defended their set pieces really well today. I'll just try and paint this picture of what I'm talking about. Again, I can't do me subs on this board. Actually, I might be able to do me subs on this board. Wouldn't it be brilliant if I could do substitutions? Let's see if how high level my... watch this, guys. Watch this. Gyökeres on, Odegaard off. You've just witnessed a historic moment in MSC live streaming. Just done a sub on the animation pad. Brilliant high level stuff here from myself. But on a serious note, I think where now we're seeing, as the game starts to open up, is now we're seeing these three midfielders. So if you're watching this live and it's a water break, this is... Arsenal have done an unbelievable job up until this point of not making this. And I'm going to move Dembele out of here. What Arsenal have done an amazing job of not making this, like, not necessarily a 3v3 game, right? But basically the story of the game. The story of the game up until this point has not been PSG trying to get the upper hand on Arsenal. Arsenal have, because of that block, I think, that I talked about early, they've stopped service into those three, and they've contained those three midfielders. So they haven't really won that battle from a duel standpoint, or they haven't won that 3v3 battle from a traditional 3v3 standpoint. But I think they've won it from a tactical standpoint, because they haven't allowed those three midfielders at PSG to run the show. What's changed in the last 5 minutes for me, and again, if you disagree with this, feel free to throw it up there. If you see something different, I would love to hear it. What's changed for me, those three midfielders at PSG are starting to run the show, and run the show in terms of their mobility. And it may be fatigue. Like, we're 70 minutes into this. Declan Rice has played, like, you guys would know more than me, but it seems like Rice has played the majority of every game for Arsenal. So fatigue will play a role. I mean, you can imagine how difficult that would be for a midfielder to chase those players for 70 minutes. And he's got to have to do it for 20 minutes more. Oh, Arsenal have just tried to play out of the back. Hakimi's picked it up in transition. Dembele 1v1 in the box. Here's a chance. Great defending. Gabriel, brilliant, brilliant. These guys are so good defensively in 1v1 again. We just take it for granted. Reyes picked a bit of a strange option there. Let's see the comments on the YouTube. Josh is still listening. Brilliant, Josh. Thanks for staying with us. We've got, I think Arsenal will try and keep the ball a little more. Havertz having more of a challenge. First ball in the air. Yeah, I agree. I think Arsenal need a sustained. They need a bit of the ball here, and this is what I talk about. Like earlier on, I don't think in elite football you can like sit back and not have the ball for long periods. But I don't think PSG just shot from distance. They are here. He is. This midfielder. Vitinha's just cracked one from about 30 yards, and yeah, it wasn't a threat to Ray, but he's after it. He's gone. These guys are in rhythm here. These PSG midfielders are in rhythm here. I said before, I don't think you can concede possession. The problem it is that PSG are so good they don't give it to you. So like it's not necessarily a choice for Arsenal here. I just think they're struggling. Oh my word. Oh my word. I tell you what, they nearly had a chance there. Kai Havertz, he's pulled something as well, looks like in his calf. What this looks like is that it looks like Arsenal are down to 10 men. And I don't mean that disrespectfully. I mean that PSG are so good that now all of a sudden it looks like they've got an extra man in their press. It looks like they've got an extra man in attack. But look at the midfielders. If you're watching this and you're looking at the TV as well, look at the midfielders. Look where they are. They are all over the place. They're not in your traditional position. So Rice cannot pick up Neves. Rice cannot pick up Ruiz because they're pulling them all over the place, which means they're doing these wide 6v5 games. Then they're playing on the other side. This is PSG's game at the minute. Arsenal, I think now for me, I'm going to be controversial. Josh, I might annoy you here. I think it's a matter of time. I think this is exactly where PSG want them. Look, Hakimi. Well done, Arsenal. To be fair, like I said earlier that I wouldn't be someone on a Saturday morning that was dying to watch Arsenal, but I'm nothing but admiration for what they've done in this match defensively. They've been absolutely brilliant. And when they've gone in transition, they've actually, like, it's not just counter-attack, like they've tried to get a hold of it. They've actually contributed to a final. Some of us thought this would be, a cat and mouse final. It's not really been that. Like, I think this has been a brilliant final for the purist. So Arsenal are of a free kick at the halfway line. They're going to take their time. Yeah, I think Man City's a good call here. Josh, I would agree with that. I think Man City and PSG, two similar styles in terms of being able to keep the ball. PSG probably just a bigger threat in those front three, just my opinion. Arsenal now are actually pinning PSG back, and I think this is what Josh talked about. Arsenal need a spell of possession, but I think Raya has made a couple of kind of questionable decisions playing out, so he's not taking any more risks, which means now when Arsenal try and circulate the ball and it goes back to Raya, he's hoofing it 50 yards up the pitch, which Arsenal have the numbers in fairness, and now actually have an attack. But PSG, I mean, it's going to be hard to break down PSG. You get the feeling that it would need to be a transitional moment like the first half. You don't see Arsenal breaking them down against the block. Saka versus Mendes 1v1. Havertz has popped out. He's not getting blocked. It's difficult. Oh! Arsenal chucked one in the middle there. Second ball. Arsenal are actually looking really well here. Counter pressing aggressively. Oh! And here come PSG on the break. Kvaratskhelia. He's at the post. Or was that the bar? Yeah. I mean, doesn't that just sum up how difficult this level is? So Arsenal, I was saying there, the PSG have Arsenal where they want them. Arsenal then have 2 to 3 minutes of sustained possession and a couple of half chances at the box, and you're thinking, oh, Arsenal have a bit more to this, and then PSG, Kvaratskhelia just breaks away on the left side. Similar position where Havertz converted, and he's hit the outside of the post, because you're vulnerable against PSG when you're pressing. You're vulnerable against PSG sitting deep, and you're vulnerable against PSG in a transition moment if you commit numbers to attack. They are so good. Yeah, I wonder now if Arsenal, I think it's too long, like 25 minutes here plus extra time. What are you looking at, 45, 50 minutes? My math is not very good. That's not a great delivery of a corner, so Arsenal have a goal kick. I don't think you're looking at penalties here, but I think if you walked up to Mikel Arteta right now and said, Mikel, would you take penalties for this? I think he would say 1,000,000% I would take penalties. Yes, I would. It's just a great game. I'm just really, really enjoying this game. There's just quality all over this pitch. Declan Rice, final third, 1v1. Here we go. Arsenal in the penalty box. Saka's just not getting any joy out of Mendes. And in transition, well done, Lewis Skelly. As Dewey tries to beat him. Brilliant. Brilliant defense. So good. Oh, so good. So good. Yeah, Dewey gives him a hug. I mean, you're talking 1v1 defending. You're up against Dewey at what minute is this? Nearly 80 minutes, and you've been running whatever these guys have covered so far, and you can defend like that. Sometimes like holding on for a draw, it sounds so negative, or like being great defensively sounds like a backhanded compliment. But Arsenal have defended, not defended for their lives in their own penalty area for this, but they've defended in a block for their lives. They've been absolutely brilliant. They're going to make 2 subs here, and these are the subs that Josh called upon at halftime. And then again, PSG build, and here's the issue. Look at Rice now. If you can watch this live as PSG switch the play. I mean, they've just put the stats up last 15 minutes. PSG 4 attempts to 1, 58% ball possession. Now it's a bit stand. Now PSG are having actually a breather for the first time 80 minutes into the game, which is music to the ears of Declan Rice and Lewis Skelly, to give them a little bit of a break. So the two teams are having their standoff, and I get so frustrated in football when teams do this today, because to me this happens way too often. But these two teams are doing this at 80 minutes into the game. Sometimes today you see teams do this after 15 minutes, where they'll just sit against a team trying to build out, and they'll just both agree not to bug each other for 10 minutes. These two teams are agreeing to have a standoff for a few minutes, but it's because they're both absolutely exhausted. Having said that, Kvaratskhelia picks the ball up. He's in the penalty area. Arsenal get numbers around him, and out comes... Again, that's the threat. You try and kill them on transition, and they come right back at you. Yeah, Doué starting to get a lot of success out there. Is that a corner kick? I think it is. All right, we go to the substitutions. Yeah, there we go. Josh called it. True Arsenal fan. Martinelli. And is it Madueke as well? Do you make subs as a coach when you're defending a set piece? It's normally the cardinal sin. Arsenal, as the Lewis Skelly's gone down as if he's been punched. But these guys are too good at this level to punch someone in the penalty area. Yeah, of course. Marquinhos. They're not going to fall for that. So get up, Lewis. A good old-fashioned tussle in the box. PSG corner. Oh, they got the contact as well, but it went over the bar. All right, substitutions for Arsenal. What does this look like? Who comes off? Is it Saka? Martinelli? Arteta has a final word. Madueke. Yeah, this will be interesting. Trossard, who I haven't even mentioned his name, but I bet his stats are off the record. Or sorry, off the chain. They're definitely off the record. And Saka as well. So I'm going to do that in my board as well, as I'm on a bit of a run with my team lineups. I'm going to take out Saka. I'm going to take out Trossard. And I put in... Oh, PSG made 210. Scalia's off. Music. Baracola's on. Too many subs for me here. Where's Madueke? I don't have a card for Madueke. I do. All right, here he goes on. Trossard's off, and we got Martinelli. I don't know if who plays on the left and who plays on the right. Apologies if I get that wrong. Write it in the comments. Okay, I'll check the chat room. Thanks so much for watching me today. Now that the game is open, Josh says the subs will be the difference. Arsenal are changing both wingers. PSG seem afraid to make the change, but Baracola could be the difference. Yeah, interesting. I don't know enough about PSG's bench to know if this is really going to impact the game, but I suspect that Luis Enrique has a really good bench set up. So looks like my screen is all over the place actually. There we go. What a game this is, by the way. What a game, what a final. Thanks so much for watching Modern Soccer Coach, our first ever tactical breakdown. I hope you enjoy it. We're going to try and do these for the World Cup as well. So make sure you subscribe, make sure you like, please. Oh my word, Baracola's in! Goalkeeper out, Raya, fantastic. Oh, this is some game. This is some game. 1-1 doesn't do this game justice. This game's been absolutely brilliant. And there's Arsenal playing away. And they might, yeah, Martinelli. Problem is if you commit even to a counter-attack against PSG, they can hurt you because you're a man down or two men down in defence. Luis Enrique's nearly on the pitch, giving information out to one or two of his players. Again, if you're watching this here, it's so interesting that Louis Skelly and Declan Rice are two of Arsenal's best players defensively here. And so often they're actually, when PSG are in an organised build, there's nobody near them. And that's so uncomfortable, for a midfielder. It's brilliant, absolutely brilliant to watch. PSG are playing break down the block. All right. Let's see. Yeah, they've slowed down a little bit. I think actually, to be fair to Arsenal, this would be, you've got 6 minutes here. PSG have slowed up a bit. I thought at 75 minutes, I thought PSG were in the ascendancy. I thought this was a matter of time. But PSG have, there's the chance there. It's just a heavy touch by Baracola, but a good run nonetheless. Good goalkeeping too. Look at that. Yeah, I wonder whether this could go to penalties. All right, Josh, let's see. When PSG find their outside back, seems like they're settling for cross in the box. Surely they need to find someone in the half space or let the better winger receive wide. Yeah, I have been a bit surprised. Now, again, I might have missed this. I thought PSG started to solve that around the 50 minute mark, 55 minute, that kind of wide space. But Arsenal, whether Arsenal have managed it or whether PSG have just actually struggled to get, I agree with you. I think, you know, you want your top attacking players getting into those spaces, but I think PSG seem to be like, I don't know, they've lost the rhythm a little bit, but they've definitely lost the tempo. They're still controlling the game, but and they're only human as well. Hakimi, cross. Yeah, I mean, if you're taking those crosses from Arsenal, you'd be more than happy for the majority of the game. And Josh is right. It now looks like the PSG fullbacks are starting to throw in crosses, which again, if you're an English team defending against an international team of that type of nature of a game, you would be happier than the circulation break us down game. What a game this has been! 88 minutes. It's absolutely flown by. Luis Enrique, there's a clip of him on the footage. He's made his subs. What a coach he is. What a team PSG are. But Arsenal have been absolutely brilliant today. A lot of second balls. And Arsenal now have the ball in the build. And now this picture is flipped. And now Arsenal are opening up some spaces. Martinelli. Yeah. The interesting thing is like, okay, well, when PSG are not in possession of the ball, they are always aggressive. Like 88 minutes, 89 minutes, they're not even gonna sit in a block. Like it's just got to be relentless for a player to play against this. Oh, what a ball. PSG opportunity in the box. Oh my word. Vitinha. And that's the difference for me. That's the difference. Cramp for a goalkeeper. Would you believe that? Ray has gone down with cramp. You probably would believe it because he's had to do so much run around. But PSG, they just played a 40, 50-yard diagonal. And all of a sudden, Vitinha's underneath and he's he's gone to the other side of Rice. This is where it's so difficult for Declan Rice because, again, the minute that you squeeze up into that block, those guys are running off your shoulder all the time. So that was the first time I think that Rice lost the marker. 89 minutes, like that's the level that it is. But what a game! What an absolute brilliant game. Arsenal taking a breather here. If you are listening, I appreciate you watching Modern Soccer Coach Analysis. We're going to try and get more of these throughout the summer for World Cup. So if you are listening, please make sure you like, please make sure you subscribe, and please let your coaching community know that there's some action over here on the Modern Soccer Coach channel to do some live stream events. What a game this has been. Who will win? Any thoughts? Please put them in the chat room. Would love to hear what you think. More substitutions on the way. Who's coming on now? Dembele's doing some organisation. Surely they wouldn't take Dembele off. 6 minutes of stoppages. There is the Jokic, the NBA player. I didn't know he was an Arsenal fan. Big man. Oh, I would actually really like PSG. Obviously, I've been singing their praises for the last 2 hours. But Arsenal have so much respect for what Arsenal have done today. I just think they've had a defensive performance without, like, they haven't turned this into a negative game. They haven't turned this into there's nothing about their performance today that has been any way, shape or form negative tactically. I think this has been a really, really positive performance from Arsenal. They've just cancelled out, and I always have a soft spot for teams that are so well organised and that kind of cancel out a team that are probably better than them. And I would say that. I think on paper, PSG are better than Arsenal, and definitely in the Champions League this year. Some of the PSG performances, Arsenal were favourites going into this. Or sorry, PSG were favourites going into this. But Arsenal have been brilliant. Arsenal have been brilliant. Let me know what you think. It looks like we're going for another 30 minutes of stoppage time here. This has been incredible to watch. Free kick to PSG. And will there be another sub here? Gyökeres has done well actually in midfield. Here we go. Arsenal in a block. PSG. Arsenal look very, very tired, but PSG, like for once in the game, those three midfielders have stood around. So I actually think PSG looks like Ramos is coming on, number 9 for PSG. I don't know a lot about Ramos. If you do, let me know. PSG moving up the pitch. Here we go. Hakimi, final third. That's the other thing is like PSG look as if they're in a standoff mode. Arsenal look like they're in a standoff mode. But PSG could score here because they can turn circulation into attack like nobody else. Marquinhos, they've got everyone up the pitch. Arsenal have all 10 players in their defensive third. Are PSG going to try and put some numbers forward? Service isn't great. Again, I think if they're just crossing the ball, Josh talked about it earlier, you would take that from an Arsenal perspective. You know, your two centre-backs would be quite comfortable dealing with that there. They're going to need to get in through either those midfielders, I think would be the key from PSG standpoint, from an attacking standpoint, but it is absorbing. This game is absolutely brilliant. Josh has asked about Vitinha playing higher. Yeah, he almost plays in two different positions. You're almost playing 12 against 11 with Vitinha, because I said it earlier, he plays as a +1 in the build and he plays as a +1 in the attack, and he looks about 5'6", 5'7", and he's got to be the most mobile central midfielder that makes it look easy in world football. Some central midfielders get around the park, but you can see them getting around the park. Vitinha glides around the park. He looks as if he's a fancy footballer that doesn't really move around a lot, but when he's not on the ball, he's away. Another cross in the box. Arsenal defend those easy. That's a statistic I would like to see. How many crosses have Arsenal defended today? They've defended them well, but I would say the service hasn't been great from PSG. What do you think, guys? Who's going to step up and win this game? We've got... Looks like we're going to extra time. Can you believe that? Dembele is off and Ramos is on, so I'm going to make that change to my tactical board. Ramos for Dembele. There we go. What does that do? Who knows anything about Ramos in the chat? I don't know a lot about him. This was what I predicted about the midfield game about 15 minutes ago, and actually I was wrong. It hasn't come out this way at all. Free kick to Arsenal. Into the box. No, second phase to Arsenal now. This could be dangerous. You'd imagine that they would have something planned here. Oh, Havertz looked good in the air there. Arsenal have PSG pinned in. Madueke. Oh, what if Arsenal scored now? This would probably be the last attack of the game. And PSG defended well. Handball probably by Rice. And out come PSG on the counter attack. Surely not. Oh my word. PSG are going to win this. No, he gone too wide. Oh, he went too wide. Bakala. Dearie me. What a chance. What a chance that was. I actually thought I'd turn the sound up. As soon as he went onto his left foot. He took one extra touch. Barcola. He took one extra touch, but at one stage, he looked as if he was through. And you would look at that, and if they scored, you would say to Arsenal probably like, why did you give PSG that transition moment? But you had two defenders at the halfway line, and Barcola wasn't even a threat 10 seconds before it. These guys can turn attack into defence like that. It's amazing. What an amazing game. We'll stay on for the penalties and the half time and the extra time. What an amazing game. Put any scores in the chat. Predictions. Josh said 2-1, so he must fancy an Arsenal goal at some stage. But what a game this has been. I think Dembele's done his hamstring. Oh wow, I didn't even notice that there. Hopefully nothing serious for Dembele. Yeah, for sure it wouldn't be good if Dembele was out of action for the World Cup. That would not be good. An advertisement for Paramount Plus, but no advertisement here with Modern Soccer Coach Analysis, because no, we're not commercial free, because we don't have our commercials ready yet, because this is the first live stream we've done. But if you want a commercial, feel free to check out Modern Soccer Coach online courses available. modernsoccercoach.com/analysis. We've got high school game model, we've got tactical analysis, advanced tactical analysis, and we've got our youth development youth development coaching course. So 3 different courses, all based around some programming, some thought, some theory, some practice, tactical analysis. As you know, if you follow Modern Soccer Coach, I'm really, really passionate about tactical analysis. Why I wanted to do these tactical breakdowns for the World Cup. This was a test run for the World Cup. Today, we'd love to get your feedback on how you think we're doing. What could we add to this? Would you watch this if it was a World Cup match of your favorite team? We'll get some more expert opinion. But right now, this has been a really, really enjoyable game. A really enjoyable game. Still commercials on Paramount, so we can't see who is saying what to expect for the next 30 minutes. Oh, it's difficult. It's difficult. I think the next 30 minutes, if you're Mikel Arteta, here's what I would do. So as a coach, I think you always kind of worry about your team being in that constant state of transitions. I think if you're Arteta, you probably don't want that last moment to happen again. So, there's 2 ways of that, right? You just don't leave your half. But I think the other way as well is like not to commit if you have a transition and you can get Madueke out in transition and you can get Martinelli out in transition, you probably want this to happen. You probably don't want this to happen. So what I'm meaning there is that if you do get an opportunity to get out in transition, get your 2 freshest players to lead that transition, and if you can sustain it and turn it into possession, great. If not, then you'll be happy enough managing the game. But I don't think, again with Arsenal, I don't think for the next 30 minutes that Arsenal are going to commit really many numbers forward because of the threat the PSG would have on the break. I think right now Arsenal, there's another sub, Arsenal are going to take penalties right now for sure. Lewis Skelly, Havertz out. Who's coming in? Eze, Zubimende in midfield. All right. Tell us a little bit, Joshua, about those players. What can we expect? Are Arsenal going to change the system? Are those straight like-for-like swaps? Will I have to get my board Eze for Havertz? And who was the other one? Zubimende. Was it Zubimende? Can't even remember. For Lewis Skelly. Let me know if I've got those substitutions in the right spots for Arsenal. This could be really, really interesting. Really, really interesting. As we approach, yeah, we're just about to kick off. So, are Arsenal going to change 1-1? Again, I'll wait for my experts on the live stream. Josh Shields, let me know. Are Arsenal going to change their tactics for this? Or are those like for like? Are they going to keep in the 4-2-3-1? Zubimende, like for like. Eze has been better than Odegaard this season. Will help Arsenal's attack. So maybe this is an inspired sub for Mikel Arteta. All right, here we go. PSG in build mode. Arsenal, you got to respect it. Look like it's a 4-4-2 press at the minute. Yeah, he's right. He's definitely right, Eze. And Gyökeres. It's Gyökeres, right? So it looks like a 4-4-2. Is that 18? Is that right? Or is that... I think I've got this right. So I think what's happening is now Eze and Gyökeres are popping in there, and now it becomes this. So now Arsenal move to 4-4-2. Eze would be interesting, right, to see what he's got. I think that's Gyökeres. If I'm wrong here, Joshua, you tell me. But it looks like Gyökeres. Oh, here we go. Oh, my word. Oh, my word. Madueke's cross. I thought that was the winning goal. Absolute counter-attack for Arsenal. And again, PSG give up nothing on box crossing. Wow. Fantastic. Well, that's the first minute, and Arsenal have been more threatening there, and Arsenal have a set piece. So if you're an Arsenal fan, this old picture here of the numbers at the back post, this will be interesting. You could see this. You could see them creating a chance here for sure. From the set piece. Madueke to take it, left-footed. Oh, it's PSG defend the box so well. All moments of the game, no problem at all. Josh says Eze will liven up the attack. It's a proactive, positive sub. Eze didn't start because he doesn't always do the defensive work, but he's positive in possession. Should be fun. Josh is positive about Arsenal right now. I think he feels that they can win the game. It does feel as if, again, it's a bad delivery. The worst thing you would want. If you were an under 14 coach and your player stuck it into the side net, and you would say, guys, we've got to do better. And it's just happened in the Champions League final, so it just shows you that players at every level. There's the Arsenal set piece coach, who is one of the most famous people in world football at the minute, and PSG are going big. Yeah, Arsenal have looked more threatening here. First, it's only 4 minutes in, but Arsenal have looked more threatening to start the first period, and they've just, yeah, he's just put his foot through the ball, PSG goalkeeper, and put out for a throw-in. So, here we go. Luis Enrique is not happy where they're taking the throw-in from. And Arsenal are in build mode, but PSG, yeah, Reyes just puts his foot through everything. Arsenal do look. I'm probably gonna put the kiss of death on them here. Arsenal do look way more lively than PSG at the minute. Here they come again. Madueke in the box. Oh, he's gone there on the dribble. Dearie me. That's never a free kick. Surely. Ah. Game management from PSG. Game management from PSG. Madueke there inside the timber. He's turned around with the ball. That was never a free kick. Okay. Zaire Emery for PSG coming on, another sub. Fabian Ruiz, what a player he is, by the way. He's had a quiet day, though. He's had a quiet day. Arsenal have done well to contain him. Is that a like-for-like sub? We don't know because I don't know anything about him. But if you know anything about him, let me know. If Luis Enrique is making a change here, Zaire Emery on, Ruiz off. Is anything going to change? The picture that I've painted here, initially in that 4-4-2 block/press for Arsenal, has not really materialised more than once at the rest of this half, first half of extra time. So very, very interesting to see how this game is kind of shaped out. Josh has said with the subs, Arsenal's kind of like Man City where they have quality on the bench. I completely agree. Over the years, they've invested in backups in each position. PSG, oh wow! I tell you what, Josh is very, very positive. And to be fair, like I think the first 6 minutes of this extra time would prove Josh certainly right that Arsenal have changed definitely the nature of this game right now. Almost flipped it. There's Rice stepping forward in the press to win the ball, and he's done really well. Eze, I thought they were in transition. This game has been absolutely brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. One of the best European finals I've seen in a number of years. Arsenal in the final third. Gyökeres, and free kick, PSG. I don't know if you call it the dark arts, but as soon as they feel pressure in the transition, once you win the ball and you knock it down to one of these midfielders, Neves, Vitinha, they feel pressure, and when they feel pressure, they can buy a free kick and take the sting out of the transition moment right away. It's so good. You might not agree with that assessment that it's so good if you're an Arsenal fan, but it's, you know, it is an art. It is an art, I think, managing the game. What a game this is. What a game this is. Fantastic. Loving this here. Thanks so much for joining me today for this match. It's been absolutely fascinating. And here come PSG in transition with our old friend Ramos, and it's he's brought him down. Yellow card for Gyökeres. Did he have to do that? He probably did. It's not a bad foul. If you're Mikel Arteta, you're probably happy enough with that. Shows you the level of work Arsenal are putting in here. I'd love to see where he started his run from, Gyökeres. Yeah, he's done really well there. He's done really well there. And the level of athleticism of these players has been talked about, right? Everyone's well aware that these guys are tremendous athletes and they're tremendous players. But I tell you what, at this level, the desire and the desire and the commitment to work rate and the tactical understanding defensively, or the embracing of transition moments, managing those moments is outrageous. It's just such a high level. All right, PSG set piece. Vitinha clips it in. Oh, Arsenal defend the first ball, drops to the edge, and they defend the second ball as well. Brilliant, brilliant. So much of defensive work as a collective is attitude, application, commitment to that. It's kind of becoming a little bit difficult in modern football to get that embracing the work around without the ball. Usually because it's quite complex. Again, we're not in this press or not press mode now. Like Arsenal have pressed, they haven't pressed, they've sat in a block. You have to do everything today defensively. and it's really, really difficult to coach. I think these two coaches today have teams who do every single thing. They play possession football, they play transitional football, they are good at set pieces, they are good defending in the box, they are good at pressing, they're good at everything. How do you coach that? You got to coach the game, you got to coach everything about it, I would say. Here we go, PSG shooting from distance, look like Hakimi, who's been quiet for, I haven't seen his name a lot today. Hakimi's been quite quiet. It's 100 minutes gone, we're 10 minutes into stoppage time. Oh, here we go, let's win this, Arteta from Wing Boulevard. We have a heavy Arsenal support here for this match. I don't blame you guys if you're an Arsenal fan. That they just showed Vasconcelos on the bench with it looked like a PSG sub, but he looked about 18 years of age, very, very young. Long goal kick. Oh, Gyökeres. Gyökeres has done really well for me since he's come on. Arsenal in the 4-4-2 press. Eze's worked hard. They've made a difference. They've pressed PSG in this first period of stoppage or in extra time. Brilliant, absolutely brilliant. Luis Enrique is going to have to do something here. As we speak, he is doing something. He's trying to get Arsenal to take their throw-ins 5 yards further back, which he's not happy about. But I don't think that changes anything dramatically. Luis. Arsenal now building at the halfway line. PSG in a block. Diagonal ball. Madueke 1v1. 1v2. He's going for it. He's in the box. He's brought down. Oh! I don't know, guys. Arsenal might have a penalty. Arsenal might have a penalty. Declan Rice ran 15 yards to the referee. I mean, he's going to look at it. He's going to look at it surely. He's obviously not gave it. Sorry, I should have said that initially. He's not gave that penalty. I don't know. I've said this 3 times. Anytime a defender goes to ground in the box today with VAR playing such a pivotal role, you think that could be a penalty. That looked like a penalty. That looked like a penalty. I would have to see it again, but initially it looked like there wasn't contact with the ball, and it looked like the attacker, I think it was Madueke, got across from him. I can't wait to see it again. The ball's still in play. It hasn't gone out yet. Arsenal could have a penalty here. If I'm an Arsenal fan, I think you're getting a penalty. Still waiting for the ball to go out, which is actually, I think, good news for the football world. Gabriel wants the game stopped. Don't think he can stop it unless... Can he stop it unless he gets a note? I don't know the rule to that. You have to respect the rule that it goes out of play. I don't like these moments. He's just booked Declan Rice. Come on. We talk about common sense. Football drives me mad sometimes. Obviously a big moment has happened in an emotional game. And Declan Rice wants the penalty check. By the looks of it, I might have this wrong, but this is what I think's happened. Mikel Arteta has been being ushered back into his box. He's furious. That's a penalty. Arsenal are going to get a penalty. Mendes has held on to Madueke's arm, although it looked like Madueke put his arm onto Mendes' arm. Arsenal are going to get a penalty. Now, Mikel Arteta nearly ran on the pitch. Arsenal are going to get a penalty, but the problem with Rice is that the game didn't stop, and Rice has been in the ref's ear for about 2 to 3 minutes that this has happened. They've now got a player down injured as well that's going to sustain. There's not even a VAR check on this? Surely not. I'm not listening to the audio of the comment. Maybe I should put it on. They're still talking about it. I have sympathy for Declan Rice here because that's a penalty. He wants that checked. And like I said, I don't know the rules if the ref can just stop it and check it where the ball goes out of play. But surely common sense for the referee is, you're going to have Declan Rice in your ear until this is checked, surely. And in today's football, you could argue that Declan Rice knows that will be checked. But You know, like these guys have played for. Oh my word! They didn't even check that. That's not a penalty. I'm shocked. I'm shocked. I'm not listening to the game. Yeah, I thought a penalty. Uh, we've just got a. We've just had our first controversial comment in the Modern Soccer Coach chat room about the power around referees. I will not say anything about that, but I do appreciate the interaction. Two former Barca players facing each other. I didn't even understand that there initially, but you're correct. Mikel Arteta, I sometimes forget that. Mikel Arteta has Barca links. Guys, how was that not checked? If you're listening to this, you're obviously not listening to the TV broadcast. Are you checking your social media feeds? If you are, has that been looked at? It obviously has, but I saw 2 replays and I thought that was a penalty. But it wouldn't be the first time that I thought a penalty was a penalty and it wasn't a penalty in today's football. So the game has started again. I should have said that. The game has started. It's a bit of standoff. Arsenal in the block. PSG building. This game is going to go to the second period of extra time, probably without anything kicking off. I think both teams right now, yeah, throw into PSG. I think these two teams are probably going to manage this out till they get to the interval. I cannot believe that was a penalty to Arsenal. And that's the thing, right? You don't really know why it wasn't given, and do they have a duty to tell you it wasn't given or why it wasn't given? No, they don't, because you don't want that, I suppose. But it is a bit frustrating to see something where you would understand. I could see that being a given a penalty, but it's not. But here come PSG, and it's run away. PSG just have no momentum for the first period of extra time. Since they scored, really, the last 10 minutes, it kind of, sometimes that can happen when you score and it goes to 1-1. I predicted PSG were going to win this game, and it hasn't happened. Arsenal managed it, and with the subs, as Josh has said, Arsenal are such a threat right now that I think PSG are a little bit reluctant to push on, and the whistle is gone for the first period of stoppage time, and one of the PSG, Vitinha, looks as if he's either got cramp or he's hurt himself. Players do look fatigued at this moment in time, but here they've played, like, what is it, 100 and something minutes. They're going to show the penalty again. All right, let's see. He's gone on the outside of him. He's gone across him. Like, that's a penalty. But Nuno Mendes has fouled him. It's surely a penalty. I don't know. Listen.
The replay instead of being flat here. On other replay, you're gonna be able to see it. I don't know how he sees that thing. Now he's holding
him.
Nuno Mendes. So at least, I don't know how the ref saw that, but at least it could have been checked. But
yeah,
like I said, it's one of those where on one side you're gonna call it, and
okay.
on the other side you're gonna go down. So it's not.
Okay, just listen to Thierry Henry. It sounds like there is saying that he felt like Madueke's arm was across Mendes first. So what's happened is it's a 1v1 situation. Madueke's faced up with Mendes. He's pushed the ball by him. As he's pushed the ball by him, now it's gone in the box. And then he's gone past him. And as he's gone past him, and I can see this here, Madueke's put his arm out, and it looks like Mendes has grabbed his arm. Now, you could argue, which Thierry Henry is bringing attention to, I'm sure, you could argue that he's put his arm out first. But it does look as if, like, it's not clear in that moment to see what happened. Surely that should be looked at. So I see why maybe it wasn't given, but like, why is that not checked? Why is that not checked? Interesting, really, really interesting. So good to hear at least a viewpoint on it. Arteta was a La Masia graduate. Yeah. And then PSG are making another sub. Vitinha's off. Marquinhos is off. Wow. Lucas Beraldo. Yeah, Vitinha's pulled something. He's just thrown his tape out. And he's gone. He's gone. I'm going to take a 30-second break. Stick with me, folks. I'll be back in 30 seconds. And we will watch the last 15 minutes of this absolutely brilliant game. Appreciate your patience. Back in 15 seconds. All right, we are back. Thank you so much for, well, first off, thanks so much for joining me. Our first ever Modern Soccer Coach live stream. Thanks so much for staying with me. Thanks so much for watching. Thanks so much for being patient as we build this out. This is something that we're looking to do for the World Cup. So we thought, you know what, let's do a test run. And what a game we've picked. I was hoping this game would be good. I know a few people predicted that it would be really, really hard for Arsenal. You know, they said, well, PSG 2 or 3-0. But I felt that, you know, a different game style, Arsenal, than obviously Bayern in the last round. It was never going to be a free-flowing best game you've ever seen. But I tell you what, it's been an absolutely brilliant match where the quality of defending and the quality of attacking has both been sensational. And I don't mean attacking as, you know, the Bayern Munich kind of that free-flowing attacking. This has been, you know, high-level movement, high-level try and unlock it. As you can see now, Arsenal are in a block. PSG trying to break it down. Oh, PSG are going to... Oh, my word! From nothing, we were complaining before about PSG just sticking crosses in the box. And they just did. They stuck a random cross in the box. And they won the first ball, headed across the 6. And out came Raya, flying out of his goal to punch. And he needed to do that, to be fair, because Ramos was just about to score. So that was a really, really interesting moment in the game where did Arsenal switch off there slightly? They might have, you know, and this game could open up, and it might just open up. PSG are definitely going to go for it here. Back in the box, Arsenal have numbers around it, so the game could go either way. Again, I thought Arsenal, if it was a boxing match, Arsenal definitely would have won the first round of extra time. I think they should have had a penalty. At least they should have had that penalty checked. But now PSG are having to break them down. I do think Arsenal are going to get a chance on the break here. I really do. And the front three of Arsenal and the Arsenal subs have been absolutely brilliant. Game management of Arteta. I hate that term, game management. But I tell you what, he has managed this game where he's changed the game with his subs, and it looked like it was, at least for me, it looked like it was kind of beyond reach. The PSG were in the ascendancy around 75 minutes. But Arteta, I think, has been sensational with his management this game. And if they were to win it, is that a free kick? Madueke, yeah, free kick to Arsenal. Final third. And yeah. I'm getting the, I appreciate the football history from Wing Build 0015 talking about Luis Enrique. Luis Enrique was my generation of football. I watched Luis Enrique a lot play for Barcelona and Real Madrid and Spain. Where are you watching from today, folks? We've got 15 minutes to go, probably with stoppages. Who's winning this match? If it goes to penalties, does it suit Arsenal? Does it suit PSG? I think it suits Arsenal. I think Arsenal is sensey. Free kick to Arsenal. Rice to take. Good delivery. PSG goalkeeper out, and Hakimi picks it up. And Arsenal are going to try and keep him there with Martinelli pressing. And already the game takes a clear shape. I mean, these two teams are so good. I've talked about this a whole way through the live stream. Oh my word, what a ball. What a ball this is. PSG on the attack. And it looks like, yeah, Arsenal win it back and go. It's end-to-end stuff, but not in a transitional way. It's almost organised attack versus organised defence. These teams' ability, João Neves is on the ball. Very, very much now a chance of PSG having to break down Arsenal without the freshness, without Vitinha. Vitinha went off injured. I think that would be a concern to Portugal in the World Cup for sure, because you would expect him to be a big player in that. Marquinhos is off as well. So PSG have made distance covered stats have just come up 132 kilometers. I bet you that's up there with Champions League statistics. If anyone is in the S&C world or is in football fitness world, seeing the distance covered, again, I would not care about that fact typically, but actually would care about it for this game because these teams have defensively done so much. I would be interested to see how their metrics stand in relation to other finals. Right now, PSG are on possession. Arsenal in a low block. Doesn't look like PSG. Oh, having said that, João Neves turned the corner and it's gone out for a goal. No, it's a corner kick. Zubimendi tracked the run. There's fans at the stadium with their hands in their head in their hands. PSG fans are brilliant. They bring a really, really good atmosphere. I watched PSG play in the World Club Championship last year against Miami. And thankfully, PSG brought some fans because the atmosphere wasn't great. Free corner kick to PSG. Arsenal defend it. No problem. Martinelli on the break, but they can't get hold of it, so it's going to come right back in. But Arsenal forced them back. Eze's work rate has been absolutely brilliant. I know Josh said there's a question mark over him, probably why he's not starting. Defensive work rate or defensive organisation. I think Josh would agree with me. Eze's been fantastic since he's come on. Madueke's been fantastic since he's come on. Martinelli, I think Martinelli has been disciplined since he came on, but I still think there's something left for him, maybe to contribute on a counter attack. Now Arsenal vs PSG, it's cat versus mouse, but it's controlled. I think Arsenal are happy enough because Vitinha is not floating around, so it's a different. I think the difference in the game now, and I'll go to the board for this. The difference in the game now and the difference in the game at the 70-minute mark is that at the 70-minute mark, this was happening. Like all these movements of all the PSG three midfielders were such a threat that Arsenal had to cover all three of them all around the pitch. What's happening now is that either the fatigue of the players or the profile of the players, probably fatigue, and let's be honest, you take Vitinha off, nobody has a Vitinha sitting on the subs bench, so you're probably having a more static footballer. Now it's turning into a little bit more of a positional game, traditional positional game where it's break us down, but there's no real movement in terms of rotations, movement in terms of the vertical runs, unbalance in defences. This has become not a slow, it's not disrespectful to the players, a slower type of game in terms of a tactical game, but definitely there's still a tempo to this game, and there's definitely still a threat to this game because both front lines, even though I think both front lines have changed their personnel, there's still enough quality on the pitch to turn this into something exciting. So I wouldn't be surprised if something happened here in the next 10 minutes. 7 minutes on the clock. There's probably going to be some stoppages, but I think definitely Arteta would take a penalty shootout. And he's running down now. Reyes just put the ball out of play, and Arteta has sprinted 20 yards to get his team high up the pitch and prevent them from building. I mean, again, I haven't been an Arsenal fan this year, and because I haven't watched them a lot. But what they've done defensively in this game, Arsenal get a bad rep with their set piece reliance this year, or maybe they're managing games like with a negative connotation of how they've managed games. I don't think that. I think what they've done today has been so positive defensively, because if you go and press PSG like we would all love a team to do, it's probably 3-0 PSG in 15 minutes. And the alternative is, well, you do a Jose Mourinho and sit and park the bus. But I don't think that, I said this before, I don't think you can do that in football today at the highest level. Arsenal have been so positive defensively. They've been so aggressive defensively. Right now, they're in a block. They're in a 4-4-2 block. And even in that block, having said that, there's a 1v1 out wide. Martinelli's dropped in, and that 1v1 is cancelled out. Hakimi versus Martinelli. Again, these spaces they manage really, really well. They continue to manage it in the second half of extra time. And I think tactically, for me today, Mikel Arteta is the winner. Mikel Arteta is the winner, and I think Luis Enrique is the best coach in the world. But Mikel Arteta has been absolutely brilliant. Absolutely brilliant for this here. Let's go to the chat, see what people are saying. Last 10 minutes, what do we think? What have we got? Josh has said, hopefully not penalties. Yeah. I mean, if you're an English team in penalties, and you've mentioned about younger players, how do you train teenage players? And this, I'm probably the wrong person to ask about. I wouldn't even bother practicing penalties. I actually don't think it has even much impact at the highest level. I think the level of fatigue, there's some work being done research-wise about how you walk up, how you put the ball down. I'm definitely not gonna discard a lot of it, but it's not my cup of tea. I think it's a massive oversimplification to football that, fatigue at this level with these guys covering the numbers that we'd covered before, like, does it really matter how they put the ball down? Like, they've got how much miles? By the way, they're in the box. João Neves, chip one back. Arsenal recover. Second ball's come in. Saved. Half chance, maybe not even a half chance. Martinelli in transition. Here we go. It's Eze brought down on the break. PSG. Absolutely brilliant. Mendes has put some shift in as well. There's been very, very few of this. They're showing the replay. João Neves again. Gabriel's defended the box. Half chance at most for PSG. I think from the XG created, this is probably a low scoring game. But I feel as if it's been an exciting game. I've really, really enjoyed this. Just not a lot of clear-cut chances, but that's come at the expense of top class defending. So, anything about the goalkeepers is something to look at in today. If you're an Arsenal fan, what's Reyes' reputation, history with penalty shootouts? What has he done in the past? Rhea, does he have any big moments on a penalty shootout? I don't know that. What about Sodnoff? What does he have on penalty shootouts? I don't know much about him either. So put in the chat room if you fancy. Yeah, I would agree with that. Arteta is a step ahead. Expert in eliminating variables. He's definitely a pragmatic coach in a different way. Massive fan of Mikel Arteta. I think he's been brilliant this season, but he's been outstanding today. He's been outstanding. It would be such a shame because I think again if it's a boxing match, Arsenal are in the box right now. I'm going to stop this. Oh my word. Yeah, I think Timbers put that right across the box and got nearly went. He's got players. It's ended up in the side net, and it's one of those where he could have sneaked. Oh my word, he actually could have cut the goalkeeper there. Half a chance for Arsenal maybe, but XG on that would be extremely low. And there was frustrated Arsenal players in the box, and he looks as if he's shaking his head as well. He looks tired. What a game! What a game! It's again, I've used the boxing analogy quite a few times. If this was a boxing match now, I tell you, this is two fighters that are laying on the ropes right now, barely able to get their hands up. But Arsenal are in the final third. And let's see what's going to happen. Zubamendi dictating play. Good cross there from Madueke, headed out. But only his friend is Gyökeres on the edge of the box. Oh my word! Oh my word! Mikel Arteta's Gyökeres had a shot. Mikel Arteta's complaining for a handball, but he's the only one in Hungary that's complaining for a handball. In fairness, the referee is looking at it, so I won't be too hard on Mikel Arteta. It did not look as if that had a hand. No, it did not look as if it had a hand. But it's a set piece to Arsenal, which some would argue is as good as a penalty kick. And this is probably it. This is probably their moment. This is their Barcelona 99 Manchester United moment where Sheringham to Solskjaer could Arsenal win this here with a set piece. How ironic would it be if Arsenal stepped forward and won this from a set piece? There's a lot of action in the box, crossed in. PSG win the first. Oh, Arsenal win the second ball. And it's headed out to Rice, who's going to shoot. Oh, I thought it went in. Oh, brilliant. PSG defended well. And this is the level. Like, they give you nothing in set pieces. And that is it. I think he's blown for full time. Yeah. Full time. We are going to penalty kicks. Unbelievable. Who would have thought it? We are so close to history now for Arsenal, because now it's almost a toss-up. Josh, yeah, looking at the ref. Yeah, there's a lot of action now. To Arsenal fans. Brilliant. Make sure you guys email me after this, and I'll get you set up with some MSC stuff. It's been absolutely brilliant. I really appreciate all your engagement. Oh, here we go. PSG goalkeeper sitting on the bench with the analyst / it can't be the goalkeeper coach. Looks like an analyst, and they are looking at a laptop and they are writing down stuff. I find that so interesting. I find that more interesting actually than the stuff about, I'll call it stuff, I won't call it nonsense, but the stuff about bouncing the ball and how many breaths you take and how you run up to the ball. I don't really engage in that stuff, but the goalkeeper element of it, of how they do their homework and how the goalkeeper gets that information and how the goalkeeper uses that information, I find really, really interesting. So PSG goalkeeper was on the bench looking at a laptop. I'm sure the Arsenal goalkeeper is getting some form of information. Is it on the water bottle again? Luis Enrique is a huddle, really tight huddle there. Yeah, this is an interesting one as a coach. Do you motivate your team as in like an emotional message before a penalty shootout where there's not a lot of collective actions being done? Both teams, both managers are doing it. Now, I think that's interesting. Yeah, Arsenal set piece coach there. Joker was was saying something to the group. Mikel Arteta's doing the same thing as Luis Enrique. That's really interesting, right? Because when you leave in football, it is part of the fabric of football is to do a high motivational listen, stay together, focus, whatever the message is, and they go out. But then you're going to the context of a penalty shootout, which is very, very individual. There's no real team element of it. Raya is sitting on the bench he looks like a boxer on the bench with a masseuse. He's getting a massage on his right thigh, a massage on his left thigh. He is the goalkeeper, coach, or the analyst, and a sub-goalkeeper talking to him as well. He's 4 people around him. So both teams are doing the same thing regards their analysis and their motivation. When I've been involved in penalty shootouts as a coach, no chance would I do a motivational talk to the team. I just never even entered my mind. So I think it's really, really interesting that these coaches are doing that there. Peter Schmeichel is talking on the Paramount station. What teams do, I think that's more interesting to me than data is all usable, justify the means. Absolutely interesting. Penalty stuff. Yeah, the penalty stuff's really, really interesting. Of course. And this is what bugs me about the stuff around the penalties is that I think it's very outcome biased. When someone misses a penalty, we all look at their walk. We all look at their breathing techniques. We all look as if they took 3 or 4 steps. And it makes a LinkedIn post that 400 people like. A lot of people have done the same thing and scored it. It's the Baggio from 94. Well, you shouldn't have, you put it too high. It's high risk to hit the ball too high at a penalty. Yeah, well, there's 5,000 penalties have been scored this year from hitting in the top corner. So what I'm trying to say is that kind of what you said there, Josh, like all data is all usable, but I don't get too excited. I would be more interested in what the managers are doing. I think today, sometimes teams use the arm in arm and the halfway line, and sometimes teams use that there. I would definitely do that if I was a player or a coach. Arsenal are definitely going to do that, right? They're going to have a team huddle in addition to the huddle that Mikel Arteta had. Again, interesting psychology. We can't see if PSG are doing it now, but the goalkeepers are starting to move over to the goal. So all of a sudden, this is starting to take shape. Body language, mentioned in the chat, body language is massive, yeah, but a lot of nervous players have scored penalties as well, I would argue. But yeah, definitely interesting to see how people feel like a coach. You have to refocus the players to think positively. Yeah, I would agree with that. But also, these players are elite level, so you also don't want to waste energy, perhaps, in emotional energy and putting out But there is part of it that, as a manager, you might sense that they're really, really tired and they need picked up. So it's interesting. It's an interesting debate for sure. Okay, PSG up first. Let's look at body language. We've got someone praying. That's not negative body language. They're not on their knees being tired. They are praying. So we've got fans that are looking nervous as well. Of course, that's natural. Goalkeepers are obviously always going to delay this. Referees just have to put up with that. And the PSG taker. Okay, well, before we get it, the goalkeepers are going to get a lecture from the referee. I don't mind this actually because I'm not a big fan of goalkeeper theatrics. I could do without it. To me, they spend a lot of the game wasting time as well. So I don't think anyone wants a football product with goalkeepers wasting time during the game and goalkeepers messing around at penalty shootouts. Again, you might like Bruce Grobbler doing it in 1984. It's not my preference. It doesn't do anything for me. I want to see penalties. I want to see the penalty shootout happen, and we're going to get that right now. Referee's just about to blow his whistle. PSG up first. Ramos. versus Raya. Top corner. Here, what a start. Portuguese international, apparently. Ramos, and he's done a celebration, and he's kicked the advertising boards, and he's fist bumped the stands. He is pumped up. That is an unbelievable penalty, dearie me. I thought it was a good penalty at the time. I just seen the replay. He's just stuck that right in the corner. Gyökeres for Arsenal. Oh, I don't know any history of any Arsenal play. I don't even know who the penalty taker is, Arsenal, so you'll have to tell me. Yeah, Josh has mentioned about Arteta's light bulb moment. Here he goes. Gyökeres does actually look comfortable. I've just put the kiss of death on this probably now. It's a run-up. Great penalty. Great penalty. Yeah, fantastic. He did look comfortable. He did look confident. I usually push back a little bit on whether players look that or not. He looked very, very confident in that penalty. So, really good. That's the other one as well, penalties, right? Do they go up and just have something in your head, or do you wait till the goalkeeper moves? Again, both of those work. Both of those players have scored recent years, and both of those players have missed. So right now, who is this for PSG? Doué. He's looked at the ref. He's looked at the goal. Always like looking at whether players are comfortable, looking at the goalkeeper. He's running straight down the middle. People say that's not a good thing. Now he changes it to the side, little shake, and yeah, no problem. Sent the goalkeeper the wrong way, 2-1. He looked confident. So is that a bias from me now that I am picking players that don't look confident? You'll always find one, but it doesn't mean they're going to score. Both teams, they've got a back angle. Both teams are hand in hand. Sorry, arm in arm. It's 1-1. Okay, here we go. Eze's up now. Number 10 for Arsenal. Confident walk. Arsenal coaches, arm in arm. They look confident. It'll be a big night for them if they won this. I really want Arsenal to win this penalty shootout. I just have so much admiration for them with the way they've approached this game. Come on, Arsenal. Come on, Arsenal. Eze's up. Here we go. Same run up as the rest. Oh, he's done the little hop. No. No. He's missed it. He's missed it. Yeah. I like the hop and the skip. I don't like the skip and the stutter step. There was a stutter step. He stopped. He stuck it wide. I mean, it's minimal. Inches wide. But, heartbreaking. I don't like that technique at all. That's why I said, oh no, when I saw him do the little stutter, the stutter. Don't do the stutter. Don't do the stutter. PSG 2-1 up. And up now is Mendes. Luis Enrique is not arm in arm with his staff. Difference, the first difference we've seen about teams approach this. There'll be an article on that on Monday. Here we go, Mendes. He's looking at the goalkeeper. Saved it! Wow, that is a unbelievable save. Brilliant save. Brilliant save. Brilliant save. Struck it well. The old good height for a goalkeeper. I'm going to use that one. But actually, like, that's a brilliant save. He's obviously got his information there. He's going early. Great save. There's a picture of the substitute goalkeeper who's ran on the pitch and give it the old fist bump. And he must be the one that got that information from Y-Scout for Raya. Declan Rice is up. There's no way Declan Rice is going to do the old skip. He's gonna bury this. He's gonna bury this. Come on, Arsenal. Oh, two-time Golden Glove winner. Good stuff from Raya, right? We're getting some information there from Josh. Rice. Straight run. But he's going to change it. Everyone's doing this, so I should stop saying it. Here we go. Confident. Yes! Declan Rice. And now Arsenal. That's 2-2. PSG. And he's giving it the old, come on, focus. Great penalty. Great penalty. Declan Rice been brilliant today. Brilliant today. Yeah, that's so good. That's so good. All right, PSG. What's this? The fourth penalty. We're nearly at sudden death here in terms of the importance of this. Hakimi scored the winning penalty for Morocco to knock out someone in the World Cup. I remember that. I don't know who it was, but I remember him doing the little dance after it. So Hakimi's decent at penalties. He has always given the goalkeeper a little glance. Reyes bouncing now. This Arsenal goalkeeper is bouncing. He fancies it. Hakimi scores it. Brilliant. Great penalty. Sent the goalkeeper the wrong way. No problem. Hakimi is some footballer, by the way. The Moroccan international. And excited to watch him for the World Cup. Big penalty for Arsenal here. This one's big. This one is big. Will it be Martinelli? We haven't seen him yet. Who's it going to be? Varscalia. Come on. Looks like he said come on there. He's from Georgia, so he wouldn't be saying it in that language. PSG fans, loving it. They've got their fireworks ready, I'm sure. Who is it? Who is it? Oh, Zubimendi. He is not. Oh, no, it's Martinelli. Sorry, Martinelli. Martinelli's not looked at the goalkeeper. He will not look at the goalkeeper. He looks nervous. Stutter step. What a great penalty. What a great penalty. And he is passionate. Look at this. Come on. Arsenal 3-3. Pressure on PSG. If they miss this, Arsenal win the Champions League. Great penalty, by the way. I know he said he looked nervous. Nervous? No chance. Great penalty. Great penalty. Penalties have been great, haven't they? They've been absolutely brilliant. Okay. Martin Odegaard. Forgot how good he was today. I thought that was like so long ago. All right. PSG penalty. Who is it? And they might need Clive Tilsley for this one. I don't know who's hitting this penalty for PSG. Oh, he scored it. Scores it. 3-3. Sorry, that's 4-3 PSG. Apologies. All right. I was wrong, actually. I was wrong. I probably got corrected in the chat room there. I thought that was... I got my numbers wrong there. Not for the first time. Okay, Arsenal now. Pressure on Arsenal. Oh, break your heart if Gabriel's up now. Break your heart if Gabriel missed. But experienced player. I'm sure he's taken a few. Declan Rice gets everyone in. Come on, Gabriel. Oh, look at that picture. They're just showing the picture from the penalty taker, taking that into the PSG fans. Arsene Wenger looks extremely nervous. Luis Figo looks like $1 million. Okay, here we go. Here we go. Breathing. He's got the breathing technique. He's left-footed. He's going to swivel around. Gabriel. He's missed it. Ooh. He's missed it over the bar. PSG. It's a cruel game and it's all kicked off now. The PSG staff and players are all over the place. Deary me. That's a tough one. That is a tough one. Gabriel, Sky, the penalty. Arsenal to a man were absolutely unbelievable. That's such a shame. PSG are an outstanding team, but Arsenal today were absolutely brilliant. That's a tough pill to swallow for Gabriel. That's a tough one. Penalties are always difficult, and that's why I always think they're a toss-up. So much pressure on the players, but they actually showed right before he took that penalty. They showed the view, like you're hitting into 20,000 PSG fans. Really, really difficult. Really, really difficult to do. So congrats to PSG, worthy champions for sure, and an absolutely brilliant occasion. Love doing that. Guys, thank you for joining me for that. I really, really appreciate your patience. I appreciate the support. Just make sure you like, make sure you subscribe, and if you enjoyed it, please join us for the World Cup ones. We're going to fix a few things. We'll get this up and running. We're going to improve it. But the only thing we would ask is please spread the word. Let us know. Let your coaching community know that we're going to do some live streams for the World Cup, and these will be fun. So Appreciate you jumping on. Apologies, Arsenal fans. Hang in there. The club done you proud today for sure. So, brilliant match, brilliant game. Enjoyed spending it with you. Thanks for all the support of Modern Soccer Coach, and I will see you very soon.